22-year-old Frankie Apodaca, and 27-year-old Philip Padilla. You will likely see gas prices come down more this week after the announcement from OPEC that they will be putting more oil out because of oil tankers going more freely through the Strait of Hormuz. Right now, the average price for a gallon of regular gas in California is $5.32 per gallon, says Gas Buddy. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
To the rest, well, in a month from now, this Hollywood big shot's gonna give you what you want.
Too late. They start shooting in a week.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
The Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good afternoon to you, wherever you may be, however you may be listening, or however you may be viewing for those streaming on YouTube. This is the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, and we're streaming live at kernradio.com. We got a busy show, lots going on over the weekend. Hope you had a great and safe 4th of July as we celebrated our 250th anniversary. And now the whole world is freaking out over a soccer game. Over a soccer game. The lead story on every newscast this morning was the Trump card. There are so many different levels of this story involving what most sports reporters consider one of the most corrupt organizations in all of sports. We'll unravel that for you in just a second. The preliminary hearing for Tyler Robinson got underway. It's a mere formality, although his defense attorneys are making a mockery out of this thing, trying to just gum up the works because obviously there is no defense of Tyler Robinson. We'll delve into that. The rich get richer and they just continue to do whatever they want to do. And I mean that as literally as I can put it. Have you seen this story? Paul Pelosi, the man with a DUI on his record, hit something on his way home. They say, Ralph, that's a really vague, ambiguous, ridiculous description. I know. That was Mr. Pelosi's description. I was driving home and I hit something. Paul, you're a grown-ass man. What do you mean you hit something? You hit a vehicle. You hit a parked car. And then you left the scene of an accident, and your explanation to the cops was, I hit something, but I'm not sure what it was. I mean, at what point, and wait till you hear this guy's history. And I'm not talking about the 2021 DUI. I'm talking about this guy has a problem with vehicles that in one case led to a fatality. I'll explain that when we get there. Marcellus Wiley, who was once considered kind of just the American dream, the absolute American dream. A kid who grew up in the ghetto, who had an opportunity to go to Columbia, an Ivy League school, made good, graduated, became a professional football player, was one of the most articulate, well-spoken football players that there is in the NFL, and just was living a great life, just an example for kids in the neighborhood and where he grew up in other ghetto neighborhoods, that education, A, is the magic bullet, and B, you can overcome all your circumstances. Well, now he's gotten involved in a domestic violence situation with his wife, threatening to kill her, putting his finger in her face, literally punching her with his fingertips on her cheeks. We'll unpack that unfortunate story. And as per our prediction, as we told you what was going to occur, there is more news about Graham Plattner, the Nazi that the Democrats have tried to rally behind, because they desperately want to flip the Senate in November. So they backed this Nazi despite allegations of sexual assault. Well, as we told you it would, another shoe has fallen. And now a very credible young woman has sat down with Politico in a 2-week, three different interviews over a 2-week interval, and really made a great case for how this guy in a drunken stupor came storming into her house and basically raped her. They were in a consensual relationship, but she was not feeling him that night, did not want him to come over that night, and he disregarded her requests, came in, kicked in the door, went upstairs, and raped this woman. And now she has what most people would consider irrefutable evidence, where she has several text messages and emails that she sent at the time, the very next day, to friends to describe what happened. And she also sent an email to a friend warning her about this man's behavior. In my opinion, the Democratic Party has no choice now. They have to punt. They absolutely have to punt on this guy. And there's a way out. We talked about states' rights. The states can run elections any way they want. And up in Maine, you can get off the ballot on July the 13th, and the Democratic Party can submit another name. And I guarantee you, just as I told you, there will be another sexual assault case, another drip, 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 drip case. They're going to have to punt with this guy. You know what I'm saying? You can make exceptions for a superstar in situations. You know what I mean? But essentially, you're going to have to punt. You know, 1st and 15, you're going to take a shot with Tom Brady. 2nd and 20, you're going to take a shot with Pat Holmes. 3rd and 25, with a Hall of Fame quarterback, you're going to take a shot. This is 4th and 25 on your own 20. You've got to punt the football because they desperately, they being the Democrats, want that main seat. That's the linchpin for them. That's the key. They've got 4 states where they believe they're going to win. They're not going to win North Carolina, or they're definitely going to win North Carolina, I should say, where Roy Cooper, a very popular governor, is going to win that seat. They just might beat the I candidate down in Texas, Ken Paxton, with James Tellerico. They could win in Ohio. They could win in Alaska, where there's a name issue with Dan Sullivan. But the main key is Maine. That's the key to them. But now I'm saying they have no choice but to get rid of this guy. This woman is too credible, and, you know, it's just going to resurrect what happened to Believe All Women. What happened to Believe All Women? And now, how does Hakeem Jeffries and Roy Khanna and all these liberal Democrats, AOC, how in the world do they defend this guy with which most people consider almost irrefutable evidence? There's no way they can defend the man. So they will pull him off this ticket by July 13th. The guess is they go with Janet Mills, who is a very popular governor, but is an older woman. She would be the oldest member of the Senate if she were to beat Susan Collins, which is saying a lot because Susan Collins is a pretty old woman her damn self. The issue is, however, Plattner was representing a whole different side of the Democratic Party that is way beyond Janet Mills. And I'm not sure Maine wants the politics of Janet Mills. They want the politics of Graham Plattner, but there's no way they can embrace this guy at this point. There's just no way. There's just no way. This woman is way too credible, and this would be entirely, they would lose the seat. If they stick with this guy, they're going to lose the seat. That's the only reason they're going to bail on it. That's the only reason. If they still felt that they could win with this damaged guy, despite the credibility of this woman, despite the credibility of Politico, despite the reality of this story, they would stick with him. Don't think they're going to dump him because they're taking the moral high ground. That ain't got nothing to do with it. That ain't got nothing to do with it. Because if we're about the moral high ground, they would have ejected this guy when they found out, I don't know, that for 18 years he had a Nazi symbol on his chest. And then his explanation for the Nazi symbol was, I didn't know what it was. Are you kidding me? You mean to tell me that I had a Nazi symbol on my chest for 18 years, that I stood still in that chair and had somebody drill into me a Nazi symbol? What? It's never the error you make, it's how you handle it. You will hear from Graham Platter a little later in the program, but they have no choice but to boot this guy. And an incredible weekend in London where Naomi Osaka, one-time best player on the planet, has resurrected her career. She went through some mental issues. She had a baby. She got away from tennis. And she now is playing as well as anybody. She upset Aryna Sabalenka, the number one seed at Wimbledon, the number one player in the world. And now, as far as I'm concerned, it's down to 3 people. 2 of them are Americans. 2 of them are going to fight it out tomorrow. That's Coco Gauff and Jessica Pegula. If you don't know who Jessica Pegula is, I guarantee you know of her father. He just happens to be Josh Allen's boss. No, he's not the head coach. No, he's not the general manager. Jessica Pegula's dad kind of owns the Bills. Yeah, like owns the Bills. He's the stadium rich and that's his. So I think it's between 3 of them. And Coco and Pegula go off tomorrow at 5:30 in the morning. I will be up to watch that. And Walker Kessler, did you see this?
Walker Kessler,
our new center.
Yeah,
it's got a new
White Walker.
What?
I saw a funny internet ad calling your guys the White Walkers from Game of Thrones.
I can't get that illusion. I've only seen one episode.
This is why you need to catch up.
Watch
the whole dang thing.
I've only seen one episode of Game of Thrones.
And you liked it.
I did enjoy it. I hate to admit it. I was watching it, trying to be that guy. And then all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute. Did he just chop off her head? This is kind of interesting. Hold on a second. I did kind of get it. I haven't seen it since.
Was it when he pushed the kid out the window? Is that what really got you?
I think so. I can't even remember the episode, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I just remember a really white, blonde-haired woman running around naked.
Yeah. No, she's the main character. Well, one of the main characters.
And somebody's head getting chopped off.
Yeah.
That's about all I remember. But Walker Kessler is a happy white man. Since you brought it up, he just proposed to the 2025 Miss America.
Really?
Yes.
Good for him.
No kidding. Her name is, please stand by, Abby Stockard? Yeah. I don't even know if she said yes. I just read the headline that he proposed. I'm assuming with this new contract, she said yes. I mean, not that women marry for money. No. Are you kidding? Shoot. Who would imply that? Well, I'm sure she said, damn Skippy, I'll marry your Laker ass. Are you kidding me? All right, let's get going. We got a busy broadcast. You will hear from the president on this whole FIFA nonsense. I'll give you my thoughts when we come back. Then we'll get into the preliminary hearing for Tyler Robinson, the man who I believe shot Charlie Kirk. I think this is a slam dunk case. And I understand that everybody deserves a defense, but I just think we need to kind of change the laws of the law, where attorneys are just trying to gum up the works as opposed to providing evidence. I'll explain when we get there. And I'll give you the latest on Graham Platter. I got some other miscellaneous news and notes. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on a Get Back to Work Monday, right here on News Talk 96.1 AM 1230, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. First Look with Scott Cox, mornings 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Tuesday edition of the First Look program, we'll talk water with the best in the business. That'd be Lois Henry from sjvwater.org. And with any luck, we'll have some fireworks citation statistics from city or county. We'll see what we'll do. We got news and traffic and weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 right here at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Carpet Outlet.
It is like a sauna.
Every day is sale day. No one can beat us, no one can touch us. You won't find better prices. Shop and compare, we don't care. Take a look our way and come into Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Carpet Outlet Plus is celebrating 30 years in business by offering you no interest financing for 12 months. Head over to carpetoutletplus.com to apply now. You can get new waterproof flooring and comfy carpet in the bedrooms, all from one trusted place. Over 70,000 customers can't be wrong. It's probably been time to change your floors for a while, so call, click, or stop by today. Carpet Outlet Plus, 3.5 blocks west of 99 on Rosedale Highway.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Hey, I'm not one to say I told you so, but do you remember last year when I told you that Pure Talk was hands down the best wireless company that I'd ever used? Well, some of you were skeptical, but Consumer Reports just asked 120,000 people to rate every wireless company in America, including the big boys. Well, guess which company was the only company to get 5 stars in every category? Yeah, Pure Talk. Coverage, support, value, data. 5 stars across the board. No service contracts, no cancellation fees, just great U.S. customer service on a crazy fast 5G network for a fraction of what you've been paying. I'm not going to say I told you so, but I will encourage you one more time to dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and switch to a 5-star American wireless company that won't let you down. Pure Talk.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Gail? When I retired, I just let all my taxes pile up. I had gotten many threatening letters. The one that said they were going to try and take my property was probably the scariest. When I found out that I owed close to $300,000, I was in total shock. It was a bad situation. I didn't know what to do. Then Gail found tax relief advocates. When TRA told me I was only going to owe $368, I just was in total disbelief. If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Gail did and call TRA for a consultation. I was so blessed with TRA. Visit TRA.com or call 800-544-7357. 800-544-7357. That's 800-544-7357.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
There'd be another man. I overlooked that point completely until the big affair began. Before I knew where I was at.
842-5376, 842-KERN. So the left is losing its collective mind over the fact that Donald Trump called the FIFA president and asked for a review of this. I haven't even really seen the play. I've seen pictures of the boy stepping on the kid. This how do I pronounce Following Balogun?
Flo, or they just call him Flo, but it's Balogun, I believe.
Balogun? Okay. I have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about for the next 15 minutes, so let's just make that clear. I'm parroting what pundits and experts and the people that I've heard talk about this. I haven't watched the World Cup. I don't give a dog about the World Cup. It was interesting to note that for the first time this season, while Mexico was playing, and I'm not making any racist observations, but for the very first time this season, Dodger Stadium was half filled. What are you turning your head for? What did I say? All I said was, during the Mexican soccer game, Dodger Stadium was half empty. That's a fact.
Yeah, well, you're right.
When was the last time you looked up in the bleachers and they were half empty or half filled?
There you go. How'd you guys do this weekend? Because my sister and nephew went to the game on Saturday, I believe.
We won everything but yesterday. We lost yesterday, I believe.
Okay, good. You got to see a win then. I'm happy. You got
They were there Saturday?
You went to the 4th of July game, yeah?
One of the games, See, my time span is all screwed up.
Sure, actually, you know what? Yeah.
But one of the games we came back was that against it was against the Padres. We were down 6-0. I think that was Friday night. We were down 6-0. Came back and won 12-6. Then we came back again the next night, and then we got beat last night. And it was a great story. And I don't know, what's the kid's name? What's our new catcher's name? This is it's a great story, but it's a horrific story.
Talking about Chucky, or are you talking about?
No, we got rid of Chucky, and we called up this Venezuelan kid that Chris is going to identify in just a second. But here's his story. They call him up from AAA. Remember, he's from Venezuela. The very day that he finds out that his stepmother and his sister were among the dead in the earthquakes. Can you imagine? I mean, I even question how did the kid go out and suit up? I guess you have to. It's the greatest day of your life. You finally made it to the bigs.
Alfonso?
I don't know who's our. We've got three
catcher last night.
We got Will Smith,
Dalton Rushing,
and this kid from Venezuela. What's his name?
It's got to be Alfonso.
Yeah, what's his name?
That's what I'm saying. It's Elfezer, I believe.
Yeah, that's why I didn't even write it down because I couldn't even pronounce it.
Oh, I'm Ellie because it's Elie.
Well, it's a horrible story. He got the start yesterday. We got rid of Chucky, our black catcher who we wouldn't let hit. We literally wouldn't let Chucky hit. And the night that we did let Chucky, and you say, what do you mean, Ralph? We wouldn't let him hit. Every single time Chucky came up, they made him putt. Because he's at the bottom of the lineup. Every single time he came up, there was a runner on base. And every single time he came up. And then the last time he played in a full game, Chucky, the black catcher, we had one since Russ Martin or Roy Campanella. Uh-oh. Yeah, I need to take that. I'll call it the break, but I need to call that back. God dang it. Anyway, yeah, the night that they sat him down, he got 2 hits. Chucky did. But we brought this kid up, and tragically, his stepmother and sister died in the Venezuelan earthquakes. Meantime, here's Donald Trump on what he said to the FIFA president.
If they wouldn't allow, a top player, maybe the best, maybe among the best players on the team to play, I think it would have had a big stain. And I related just that fear. I didn't tell him what to do. I can't tell him what to do, but and I don't believe he made the decision. I think it was a committee that made the decision.
Here's the reality. We're in a different time and space. I grew up in the era where you lived with it. You just lived with it. I'll never forget the first time I was just stupefied by instant replay was the World Series in 85 or 86. It's the Cardinals against the Royals. If you're an old person like me, you remember this. You probably don't even remember. You weren't even alive. And it's a bang bang play to end the inning where the first baseman has to throw it to the catcher, to the pitcher, and he steps on first base and he clearly beats the guy and they call him safe. The point I'm trying to make is we've crossed that boundary. We're now in an era where we look back at things. We're in an era where a pitcher or a catcher or a batter can argue strikes. If you know anything about baseball, you know that's the broken line. That's the broken line. You can argue anything. You used to be able to. Anything. You can come out and argue about any call, a balk, a safe, an out. You can never argue balls and strikes. Why can't you argue balls and strikes, Chris Burdick?
Because it's all in the split-second decision.
Because you'd be doing it all day long.
True.
How many pitches are in a ball game? 200? 250 pitches? Can you imagine every umpire, every manager? So that was the unwritten rule. You come out here and scream at me about balls and strikes twice, you're out of here. We've crossed that line. We're in the era of looking back at things and getting it right. And no one, even the far left, that's saying, oh, it's Trump and getting involved in sports, even they admit it was a horrendous call. So at the end of the day, we got it right. And why Belgium would want to play without their best player, I always thought, I grew up with coaches who would be like, you know what, we could give them our playbook. I don't give a damn. We're the better team and we're going to beat them. And no, we don't want their best player to be injured. We want them in the ball game. Those are the kind of coaches I grew up with. But Belgium is screaming and yelling, oh, we've been robbed. We've been robbed. Why? Because one of our best players is going to beat your ass? Deal with it. Quick time out. More TRBS. Don't go anywhere.
SRN News. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Russia has launched a massive missile and drone attack on Ukraine, killing at least 22 people.
What's
the
up?
Assault highlights
What's
gaps
going on?
in Ukraine's air defenses, particularly the need for more U.S.-made Patriot interceptor missiles. 15 people were killed Monday in Kyiv, Russia's main target, while 6 others were killed in the wider regions surrounding the capital. A former campus police officer says he found an apparent sniper pad on a gravel rooftop near where Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Monday's courtroom testimony by the former officer comes as prosecutors seek to show they have enough evidence to put defendant Tyler Robinson on trial for murder. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 155 points. The Nasdaq rose 288. The S&P advanced 54. This is SRN News.
Hey, I'm not one to say I told you so, but
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Headlines from the KERN Newsroom.
I'm Chris Davis. The death of a K-9 deputy in Fresno County is being blamed partially on people setting off illegal fireworks Saturday night and scaring the dog while he was outside urinating. His partner says Santee took off running when someone set off a big blast. He jumped a fence and was hit by a car which drove off. Santee, who had been with the department for 4 years, died at the animal hospital. Part of the reason that you're seeing oil and gas prices come down in a much larger way this week is that OPEC announced that it would begin increasing output next month, which means more supply, less demand, and lower prices. The average price for a gallon of regular across the state today is $5.32 per gallon, says Gas Buddy. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Attention, Medicare beneficiaries in Kern County. Are you looking for a doctor who truly listens, someone who cares about your health and respects your time with minimal wait times and prompt referral authorizations? Well, it may be time to learn about QualCare IPA. QualCare IPA partners with most Medicare Advantage health plans, giving you access to a large community-based network of outstanding physicians and quality hospitals right here in Kern County. Local doctors, trusted hospitals, personalized care. Medicare Advantage plans offer benefits beyond original Medicare, but understanding your options for 2026 can feel overwhelming. That's where we can help. Call 661-554-4544 today to learn more about your Medicare Advantage choices. Our knowledgeable team is ready to help you understand your coverage options and make confident decisions about your care. Again, that's 661-554-4544. Get the information you need and the coverage you deserve. For accommodations of persons with special needs at meetings, call 661-554-4544, TTY 711.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
Hey,
Nathan has taught me to embrace the moment. Age-wise, I'm in the late 60s. I'm old enough to be his grandfather. Will he be embarrassed to acknowledge me as his dad? I think the most important thing we can do is let them know that they're safe, that they're valued and cared for and loved, and that they're important.
I knew I wanted to be adopted by him because of how he taught me to be the person who I am today. And it's coming from a dad that didn't expect to become a dad, and I feel very proud to be his son.
That was what he needed, and he was what I needed. Every day is full of new opportunities. That's what it's been about, realizing the simple things that it takes to make such a huge difference in these kids' lives.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care at adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Maxwell in the morning.
If not, just call mom or self. Just make sure
if you've got kids right now, what happens every summer? Well, there's no summer jobs available. And so you end up having to spend a lot of money putting your kids into something that is going to keep them active. You can't do what we did when I was growing up. It just doesn't happen anymore. And that's been the death of summer jobs.
Irvin,
and
can you hear
really
me?
Change society in a very negative way.
Weekdays 9 to noon, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
KERN. I've got some more audio of the president dealing with this situation, but again, I don't understand what the big deal is. I really don't. At the end of the day, the right thing was done. Like I said at the top of the show, FIFA's considered this Gianni Infantino, president of FIFA, is considered corrupt. FIFA's long been considered corrupt. And isn't it my understanding, because I don't know anything about soccer, that who's the star? Christian, what's his name?
Vlasic?
No, the other one.
Ronaldo?
Yes. Didn't he get suspended and have it removed?
Yes. Yeah, that is.
So then what's the big deal? What is the big deal at re-examining this thing and realizing it was a bogus call and just the whole rule should be changed? That a red card gets you a disqualification in the next game? Like, I can't remember. I played soccer for 2 years, 7th and 8th grade. So what's the difference between a yellow card and a red card?
So I explained this to JR earlier in basketball terms. Yellow card, traditional foul. Red card, flagrant foul. So red card has to be something like super egregious. You're going out of your way to hurt this guy, kind of stuff. It's all to the refs, interpretation. But in this situation, they went and had to look at a replay and then,
which is not supposed to happen, from what I understand.
Yes, that's
another thing. They're not supposed to review it.
They can for yellows, but from what I understand as well, reds don't normally.
That's what I heard on television this morning. I have no idea. I'm just parroting what I heard on television from people that actually know what the hell they're talking about. So I don't understand. If this had been Barack Obama, they would have praised him as a hero for America. Look, we're Americans. We win, and we do whatever we can to do to win. And we're just not willing to admit that. Do you know I really realized that for the very first time? When I really got my arms around the idea that as America, we just won't put up with losing. You remember that this isn't the example I'm giving, but I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. You remember how the movie Patton starts? For most people that have seen that film, the opening scene is one of the favorite scenes of the film, where George Patton, aka George C. Scott, gives this speech in front of an American flag, and he says, there's one quote, "I don't give a doggone about a guy who gives 100%. I want a winner, and Americans want a winner." And for most people that have seen that, that is the most encouraging favorite scene of the whole damn film. And that's the way we are in America. But you know when I realized it? When the American college kids lost the Olympics, and we said, screw it. Bring in Magic, Larry, and the boys. Forever, my whole childhood, it was always amateur athletes. It was always the college kids. Why? Because we dominated. We dominated. Except for 71, 72, when the Russians cheated Doug Collins and that bunch of guys, and they replayed the final play like 3 times until finally the Russians threw a length of the court pass. They got a layup to win. And to this day, that 72 Olympic team has not accepted their silver medal because they know they were robbed, and they were robbed. But then we went back to the college kids because we continued to dominate. And then all of a sudden, basketball became international. And all of a sudden, the college kids weren't good enough. And we called in the pros. And that's when I realized this is America. And we just don't put up with losing. And if the president of the United States wants to call the FIFA president and suggest that he, you know what this is like? This is like, you know, when you were a kid and mom says no, but dad is kind of a softer. Hang on a second, I had to take this. Do a little song and dance.
For those of you who are wondering, the World Cup game between the U.S. and Belgium will get started, I believe, at 5 o'clock. If I'm not mistaken, you can check it out on all Fox and Fox Sports national televised channels, as well as Telemundo if you choose to go that route.
Take
if
a
you
pen.
have a streaming service, I know it's on Peacock as well. Should be a lot of fun to watch, regardless.
Hang on a second.
And, you know, all the controversy around this is what it is. I agree with Ralph. It is kind of, it's one of those situations where you need to let that kind of a thing go. I know it's at a discretion of a referee, but it is what it is.
But have been to the warehouse, and there are a number of events and fundraisers and all kind of things that go on there. And Gino serves up the Chateaubriand with the Saco beans. Are you kidding? With the chicken choice as well? Where would you rather be? And of course, I've told you how to go about Luigi's on a Friday or a Saturday. I'd start in the deli and check out some of the Italian wines. Talk to Lynette. She's one of the best sommeliers you'll ever run into. Then go have a cocktail with Julie as you're waiting to be seated. And then maybe go out to the Bailey Bar or inside. It's a little hot these days, but where would you rather be than at Luigi's Restaurant and Old World Delicatessen, longtime sponsor of the Ralph Bailey Show.
The more you listen to your kids, the closer you'll be. So we asked kids, what do you want your parents to hear?
I feel sometimes that I'm not listened to. I would just want you to listen to me more often and evaluate situations with me and lead me towards success.
We're not adults, so just be there and like listen. I just want someone to yap to, and I just feel like I'll be fine. Like if someone just hears me talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk.
You're doing a really good job, and I don't think I tell you that enough. And I know sometimes we get into it, and it's just hard on both of us. And I'll try to understand me more, and I'll try to do the same.
Listening is a form of love. Find resources to help you support your kids and their emotional well-being at sounditouttogether.org. That's sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Pentagon.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
I'm the threat that's already inside the house. I can't be scared away or negotiated with. You can't call the cops on me. You can't even see me. I'm the threat of family fire. And as long as your guns aren't stored securely, I'll be there. Protect your family. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230.
And what happened?
KERN.
Do you know who that is? I got to call you back. I'll call you back. (842-5376-842-KERN). So the preliminary hearing was held today for Tyler Robinson, Erica Kirk, and Charlie's parents, and Donald Jr. were all in court today. Erica Kirk apparently walked out of court when they got to the testimony of the police officer who was one of the lone police officers. If you don't know the judicial process, a preliminary hearing is just formality. 9.9 times out of 10, a preliminary hearing goes to trial. It is essentially the prosecution's responsibility to show enough evidence to determine whether it goes to trial. They don't have to present their entire case. They rarely do. They just have to show enough evidence that the judge is going to hold it over for trial. Again, everyone knows this thing is going to trial. There's no question about that. But again, as I said at the top of the show, the defense, meantime, with no real sense of defense, because the key to this entire prosecution is essentially the confession. Tyler Robinson called his lover right after the shooting and described it, talked about it, how he left the gun, had to go back for the rifle, how he was worried about getting caught because he had to go back for the rifle. There's no defense for this. And I understand the judicial process. I really do. I understand that everyone deserves and gets representation. But in a situation like this, when you're an officer of the court, what? Do they think that he's not guilty? And you should vehemently defend this man. But to do it in a way to just delay the proceedings, to gum up the works, they brought up the fact that a gun holster was found. That was one of the big defense pieces that was brought into court today. What the hell does that have to do with it? It's like this FIFA thing. There's no consensus that it was a bad call. There's no argument, excuse me. There's no argument. There's not even a consensus. It's unanimous. It was a bad call. Well, I'm pretty sure it's unanimous. Even if you don't believe that Tyler Robinson was the killer, it's pretty unanimous that it was a rifle. So, in other words, what does the fact that they found a gun holster on the campus have anything to do with this prosecution? Like, that's what I'm talking about. Just little side diversions just to either, I don't know what you're trying to do, because you're certainly not going to confuse the judge. This is just a preliminary hearing. Maybe you can confuse a jury and get them minds wandering and thinking, well, why was there a holster? Maybe there was a second shooter. That's ridiculous. But it's that kind of defense that I just don't agree with. Present the facts. And if you have facts that can put Tyler Robinson at a different time and place than other than on top of that roof, shooting at the president of the United States, then defend your case and present those facts. But to simply try to gum up the works, I don't get. Here is the main witness today. Chris Bagley is a Utah Valley State cop who spoke about the incident himself.
I heard an individual talking to Charlie, and I happened to kind of glance over the edge of the railing about that time. I could see the right side of Charlie's shoulder, so not his whole body, because he was underneath the tent, so I could only see probably the right side of his body. He was answering a question, kid asking him a question, and then I heard a shot fired.
And they're questioning whether he could determine whether the shot was fired, what direction it was fired from, et cetera, et cetera. See, this I don't get. Try to besmirch eyewitnesses. Because remember their first attempt was to get rid of the prosecution because one of the prosecutor's daughters happened to be at the shooting. Not the prosecutor himself, not the prosecutor's wife, but his daughter, who wasn't even a main witness, who just happened to be there. That was their first attempt to get this guy off. Not get him off because he didn't do it. And this is what I don't understand about the law. And this is what I don't understand about defense attorneys. That even if you were to successfully get him off on a technicality, is that really the law? That's the reason I can never understand this. Again, I completely comprehend and embrace the idea that everyone has to have representation. But the idea that you would go about some slick maneuver to get a man who is clearly guilty, and I know I can't say that he's alleged to have done that. He's presumed innocent until a jury finds him guilty. But to use these kind of tactics, here's more from Chris Bagley.
I turned to my chief and I said, that was a rifle shot. He said, I agree. And I looked up at that moment, right in the line of sight. I could see the Losi building, direct line of sight, and see what was going on up there.
So it's pretty open and shut. It really, really is. And we'll see what happens with the trial. The saddest part about this is that the family and Erica Kirk has to go through this again. She was in court with Donald Trump Jr. and Charlie's parents. And to think that, you can't ignore it. If they don't go to the trial, the liberal media will cast them as parents or a widow who doesn't give a damn. And then to go there every day is to relive it every time you hear the description of the shots. And I'm sure video evidence will be presented during the trial, because it's all, we've all seen, this is more clear than the Zapruder film, which is the film that captured the death of John Kennedy. There's no video of Dr. King, but rarely do we have video of assassinations, and only by dumb luck do we have the Zapruder film, and if there wasn't for the Zapruder film, there would be no argument about the death of John Kennedy. But every single time they discuss this thing, this family has to relive this, and this widow has to go through this. And it's just unfortunate. It really, really is. And that we have this system where, this kid's facing the death penalty. And, we were just dragging down the DA for cooking up a nice little plea deal for Kevin Mays, a guy who was a pimp and a child pornographer, gathered that kind of material and had weapons and AR and all this kind of stuff, drugs and all kind of stuff. And we were just bagging on her for making a plea deal. Well, I wouldn't be upset with a plea deal for this. Just make this thing go away. I know some of you want to see this guy killed. I'd be happy with a life sentence for this guy. I think a life sentence, for me personally, I think a life sentence is harsher than death. Death is the easy way out. Let Tyler Robinson, a kid in his 20s, spend the next 60 freaking years in prison, in hardcore prison, where he knows every single day he'll never, ever leave the bounds of that prison cell. I think that is like I said, I think death is the easy way out. But we'll see what happens. 842-5376, 842-KERN. You got anything on the board?
Yeah, I got a couple.
What do you got?
Balogun is a birthright citizen, and it makes us better. Go figure.
Is he really?
Yeah, he is.
Where is he from?
That I'm not sure. Give me a sec.
We're talking about this kid that is apparently. Wouldn't it be funny if he did absolutely nothing tonight?
That would be funny.
It would be funny. It would be funny if he either had like a hat trick or he did absolutely nothing. One of the two extremes. You know what I'm saying? I think it'd be funnier if he had like 3 or 4 goals. Because now Belgium, all of Belgium's heads would be exploding. See, we told you. What? Told us what? That you were about to rob of us of a best player? Where's he from?
Parents are Nigerian.
Nigerian. But he was born here.
He was born in New York.
He was born in New York City. But he's from Nigeria. So then why do I sound like a Muslim? I can't do Nigeria.
25 years old, too.
Is he really?
Yeah.
I thought he was younger than that. I don't know. I just don't understand. It's a soccer game. It's a god-daggone soccer game. But again, half of Dodger Stadium was empty yesterday. It won't be tomorrow. Won't be tonight. Who we play tonight? Hey, Siri, show me the Dodger schedule.
Rockies.
The horrible Rockies. I bet it's packed tonight. It was half empty last night. That just goes to show you the Dodger fan base. Is that a racist thing to say?
No, I think it's pretty well established that the vast majority of the Dodger fan base
are Latino. That's a safe statement.
I think that's a safe statement.
And I think it's a safe statement to say that much of the Dodger fan base was at home watching Mexico play last night. And that's why, for the first time I've seen, have you ever seen Dodger Stadium this season? This season, the last 3 seasons, where half the stadium was empty for a day game?
True.
For a day game? Beers and
well, that's Sunday. Yeah, it was the day after 4th of July too. Everyone's kind of hungover. Maybe they just decided to stay home.
You really think that, or are you just saying that?
No, I'm just saying that.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Now the Latinos were home drinking cervezas, watching the damn Mexico. Believe me, I'm sorry if that's considered racist, then I'm a bigot. Call me Archie. But I ain't never seen Dodger Stadium so empty. Even Mary Hart wasn't there. I don't know what that means. She hasn't been there for weeks. I think they're both in London watching Wimbledon. What else you
got? Let's see. Donald Trump don't believe in stinking rules.
What rule did he break? He's the president of the United States. He called FIFA and he said, we think you should review that. And the FIFA president said, okay. They went into a committee and the committee voted and they looked at it again. And at the end of the day, they got it right. It just amazes me that there are Americans upset at this. It'd be different if it was like close. But no one is saying that was an accurate call. No one. I don't even think the Belgians are saying that it was the right call. So then if the president of the United States interceded to the point where we got it right, what is the issue? That's why I started with this comparison of 1970 sports, where we just had to live with it, and the era in which we're in now, where you've heard me talk about football. I think football is making a mistake. I don't think we've evolved to where we're going to go with football, because I think at some point the NFL is going to realize we have got to look at pass interference. I think they're going to look at more and more plays in the NFL. Why? Because you can't show America either a non-foul or a foul and then let it determine the game. Not in this era. Back in the 20th century, when we all just had to live with it, whether it was in Little League, high school, college, or in the pros, that was one different situation. But now we're in the era where the batter can be like, nope, that wasn't a strike. I'm telling you right now, I'm tapping my head, and that wasn't a strike. See, it wasn't a strike. I told you, it's 2-0. Let's go. Let's play baseball. We're in that era now. We're in the era where the technology is such that at the end of the day, we just want to get it right. Well, guess what? We just got it right. If the president was pushing for, hey, give us a break, it was a close call, don't make such a close call. Maybe we should have a problem with it. But no one, and I do mean no one, is saying that was a justified call. So the president did us a solid. Way to go, Mr. President. Way to go. Happy birthday. Belated happy birthday. We appreciate you. Wouldn't it be fun if we just get beat like 6-0 tonight?
No.
He has no goal. Plays like crap. We get totally blown off the field. Belgians are running around America, drinking ranch dressing, having a ball. Quick timeout. We head into the fourth. Don't go anywhere.
Kern Radio, AM 1230, KERN. 96.1 FM, K241CI Bakersfield, an American General Media station.
Town Hall, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. NATO's chief is demanding allies present credible plans to reach defense spending targets. Correspondent Charles de Ledesma reports.
NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte has made clear allies must put forward clear, concrete and credible plans to reach the organization's spending targets at its annual summit in Ankara, Turkey, starting Tuesday. He says European allies and Canada are expected to invest $258 billion more in defense in 2025 and this year. The meeting comes at a crucial time for the alliance, with the US scaling down its security role in Europe. Washington has been pressing allies to shoulder more of the spending burden. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
President Trump says he's building a granite helipad on the White House lawn, insisting that the landing area is needed to accommodate new, more powerful presidential choppers. He says he's building the new helipad at the White House for his new, more powerful helicopters to replace Marine One.
For 50 years, we've been landing helicopters on grass. The grass is wet, soggy, and our other Marine Ones are about 40 years old. They're all like Air Force One. You know, it's time to make a change.
Venezuelans are digging through earthquake rubble with their bare hands to recover loved ones as international rescue teams depart, and anger rises over the government's response. The death toll has risen to 3,535. A reminder that SRN News and our parent company Salem Media are partnering with the Christian nonprofit Food for the Poor to rush emergency aid to victims of this tragedy. Listeners wanting to help can find an online banner at the top of our website, srnnews.com. More on these stories available at townhall.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-2341. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-2341. That's 800-575-2341. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
AI gives the markets a boost.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update.
A police dog killed in a hit and run. I'm Chris Davis, and it's being blamed on illegal fireworks, partially. It happened in Fresno County in the city of Clovis when a deputy was at home with his canine partner, Santi, a Belgian Malinois. When he let the dog outside to do his business Saturday night, someone set off a big one, and the dog ran and jumped the fence with the deputy telling him to come back. Instead, when he caught up with Santi, he had already been hit and died from his injuries. Santi had been with the department for 4 years. A Sunday morning shooting in Bakersfield. 4 people are hurt, and that includes a child, says the Kern County Sheriff's Office. That shooting happened about 1:40 a.m. Sunday on Decatur Street. 4 people ended up in the hospital, including the child, and it was unclear how they were all doing as of this afternoon. Deputies had not discussed a motive for the shooting publicly and did not have any information to share on a possible suspect. It wasn't just illegal fireworks, and plenty of them, by the way. that Bakersfield police found and seized while raiding what they say were 2 illegal dispensaries last week. They also found weed and hemp products, steroids, and $9K in cash. The dispensaries were on East California Avenue, right across from Our Lady of Guadalupe Church. 3 people faced drug charges this week: 38-year-old Richard Moran, 22-year-old Frankie Apodaca, and 27-year-old Philip Padilla. Part of the reason that you are seeing oil and gas prices come down in a much larger way this week is that OPEC announced that it would begin increasing output next month, which means more supply, less demand, and lower prices. The average price for a gallon of regular across the state today is $5.32 per gallon, says Gas Buddy. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Welcome to the West World. In a month from now, this Hollywood big shot's gonna give you what you want.
Too late. They start shooting in a week.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
The Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hour 2 of the broadcast on this Monday, 6th day of July. Excuse me. This is the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1, AM 1230, and we're streaming live at KERNradio.com. We'll tell you the story of Paul Pelosi, who once again has flouted the law. He and his wife, Nancy, just act as if the law doesn't pertain to them. I'll break that down. And not only just this most recent incident, but others as well. Marcellus Wiley, a kid who came out of the ghetto, grew up in Compton, went to Compton High School, got a degree and a scholarship to Columbia, was kind of the poster child for the kid coming out of the ghetto and that could use the magic bullet of education to get himself in a position to play in the National Football League and then to have a life after the National Football League. He's been a successful broadcaster. He was on ESPN for years. He's been a podcaster, and now he's basically thrown his life away. He's been accused of threatening to kill his wife and domestic violence. And according to the wife, this all occurred in front of their 7-year-old daughter, which I'm pretty sure is about as good a witness as you can get. Your own daughter testifying against you that, yeah, daddy put his hands on mommy. That's pretty much a foolproof witness, I would say. We'll unpack that story and we'll get into some sports in the 5 o'clock hour, get you caught up on Wimbledon. It's a big day in the tournament tomorrow. Coco Gauff and Jessica Pegula, a pair of Americans, are going to go. I think it's going to be one of them that wins this tournament. And if it's not one of them, it'll be perhaps Naomi Osaka, who was at one point the number 1 player in the world. She was coming up as Serena was going out. You may remember in that infamous or famous Australian Open where the referee, this was pre-coaching, because now tennis players can be orally, verbally coached. And that's why they've moved the boxes of your team, as the players call them, their trainers, their managers, their coaches, down closer to the court, because now they can actually talk with the players and tell them what to do. Back in the 20th century, you could not do that. And in that famous, or again, infamous Australian Open, Serena's coach could be seen doing something of this, kind of the pass interference sign, pushing forward. And they interpreted it, and I think it was a fair assessment, that the coach was telling Serena to come to the net, to come forward. And he accused her of being coached. And Serena had a meltdown. No, I'm not coaching. That would be cheating. I'm the greatest player who ever lived. I don't have to cheat. And it was just a huge deal. They made a documentary out of it. It was such a huge incident because she was dominating the match over Osaka. And then it just all unraveled and Osaka beat her. And there was the famous speech that Serena gave at the ceremony to anoint this girl. They said, hey, don't, because they wanted to boo her. They wanted to boo Osaka because she had just beaten the most popular and greatest player who ever lived, and it was all under this cloud of controversy. But now she's gone through, she being Naomi Osaka, self-described mental issues. She had a baby. She left the world of tennis. She came back, and she didn't beat Aryna Sabalenka, the number one player in the world, the number one player in Wimbledon. She kicked her behind, beat her 6-2 in the first set. And then it went to a tiebreaker, which means it was close. It was 6-6. But then she beat her 7-2 in the tiebreaker. She dominated the tiebreaker. It's first person to 7, got to win by 2. And she beat her 7-2. Wasn't even close. Wasn't even close. And that's why Sabalenka has always been this mystery player, because she's physical. She's like 6 feet tall, 6'1". She's, kind of built like Martina Navratilova. She's a big, thick girl. I bet she's probably 6'1", 6'2". I bet she's about $175, maybe $180. What do they ever listed at, Chris?
Just about to check that right now. 6 foot, 175.
175. That's a big woman. And if they list her at 175, that probably means she probably weighs about $185. You know what I'm saying? And so she should be dominating. And for the number one player in the world not to make it to the quarterfinals of a major, it's just kind of a mystery. And not only to lose, because Iga Swiatek, the defending champion, got bounced over the weekend. I forgot to tell you that. So this thing, that's why I say it's down. You say, well, how can you say it's down 3 people? Because all the great players are out. The number 1 seed, the number 2 seed, they're all out. And I'm telling you, and when one of these 3 ladies win, I'm going to be sitting here. I try to tell you, it's going to be Coco Gauff, Jessica Pegula, or Naomi Osaka. I'm not smart enough to tell you which one of those 3 are going to win, although you probably know who I'm rooting for. Coco. I can't root for Jessica Pegula. You know what I mean?
Why, because of the Pegula family?
Yes.
What do you got against Terry?
Just the fact that, I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. There's this human element in me that resents a girl who's making a great living,
have the silver spoon the whole time,
and doesn't need it.
Yeah.
She's making millions and millions of dollars, and her family's worth billions. Like, she could literally give away her salary. Literally, she makes millions upon millions of dollars, and she can literally give it all to the Salvation Army and not miss a beat in her life. She'd still be having caviar and Dom Perignon tonight. If she gave away every cent in her checking account and her safety deposit box and her investment messmaker, Peachy Wealth Advisors, she could give it all away, and she'd still be flying in private jets, living in a posh apartment complex somewhere in Buffalo, which is karma enough that you have to live in Buffalo.
Nah, you don't live in Buffalo.
You don't think so?
Oh, heck no. With New York, no.
Well, she lives in Florida. She's a tennis player, so she has to live in Florida.
Sure, yeah, she's clearly.
They all moved to Florida. Like,
but I guarantee you, they got a house in Manhattan or something like that.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I don't know, though. Look it up. Look up where Terry lives, the owner of the Bills. I bet he lives in Buffalo. I don't know. He bought them from the longtime owners, the Riches. Where does it say they live?
Boca Raton, Florida.
See? So
or in East Aurora, New York. And Brentwood, Tennessee, apparently.
Well, of course. You think what? You think they got one house?
Oh, no. I'm saying like everywhere except Buffalo.
Except Buffalo. Yeah. Who would? If you had to, who would? If you didn't have to, who would live in Buffalo?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, who give to the city of Buffalo? Sure, but they ain't living there.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Meantime, there are new allegations against Graham Plattner, and it's all over. It's all over. I'm the first one to tell you, it's all over. The Democratic Party has no choice. They have, again, as I talked about at the top of the show, states have a right to run elections any way they want. You know how we ineptly run ours, which is different than the way that Nevada or Arizona or Oregon or Washington, et cetera, et cetera. Well, in Maine, you can take the name of the candidate or the nominee off as late as July the 13th, which is next week. In fact, it's a week from today. And you can replace that person. And that's exactly what the Democratic Party is going to do. There's no way in the world they can ride the Nazi any longer. They got him through allegations of sexual misconduct from 3 different women, despite the hypocrisy of the left, which said when they were going after Brett Kavanaugh for an incident that happened when he was in high school. Let's remember that. Let's remember that they wanted to derail a United States Supreme Court justice's career over allegations that he did something at a high school party. Okay? And the whole Me Too movement began with always believe the woman. Remember that? It was in all the papers, right? So now Graham Plattner comes out with the Nazi symbol and the New York Times with a hard investigative story that 3 different women said that he mishandled her. None of them said that he raped them. None of them claimed that he raped them, but that he was dragging one girl out of a cab. He grabbed her by her arms and threw her down. He just intimidated them. Boop, 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 boop. Well, they rode through that. They being the Democratic Party. They rode through that because they want that main seat. They want to flip the Senate so that they can get rid of the filibuster, so they can pack the court. Democrats, listen to me carefully, Democrats are never, ever, ever going to sit still for this 6-3 conservative majority. They're just not. And there's only one way they can battle that, and that is to pack the court. And the only road that leads to packing the court is getting rid of the filibuster, because there's no way in hell they can get the necessary votes without the filibuster barometer, which is 60. There's no way they can get there. So the first thing they're going to do is get rid of that. And that main seat is the key to flipping the Senate and then therefore leading to getting rid of the filibuster and then the Supreme Court and DC and Puerto Rico becoming states and everything else that they've wanted to do on this progressive agenda, which is going to be even more dangerous if, in fact, we allow this to happen. Why? Why? Why is it more dangerous than ever if we allow them to do this? Because socialism is on the move. That's why. And Democrats don't know what to do. As I've talked about hundreds of times, there are 3 things you can do when there's a movement, whether it's civil rights, whether it's the American Revolution, whether it's women's suffrage, whatever the movement is, there are 3 things you can do. You can either ignore it, you can try to stop it, or you can get involved with it. And Democrats don't know what to do because A, they can't stop it. Because again, we've talked about this last week, who this is being led by. This is being led by young, white professionals, white collar, college educated, white people. Black folks, minorities, poor folks are not in favor of this, believe it or not. I would have thought Black folks would have lined up for socialism, a redistribution of wealth. But now even Blacks have moved to a point where they're like, what you mean you're going to talk about my wealth? You're going to take away my money and share it with them? Wait, I worked too hard for this business. We're not going to redistribute wealth. And I've explained why it's these young, white, college-educated, white-collar folks that are against this, because they realize they're the first generation that's not going to outdo their parents. They are not going to live in that 5-bedroom, 3-bath house that they grew up in with the pool in the backyard. They're not growing up in that house. They're just not. They're just not. A very small percentage. Yes, because you're my audience and you're engaged and you're intelligent, you're probably affluent, your kids have done the right thing, they've made the right decision and have embraced education. They probably will do as well as you and probably do better. But in the nation, in the country, it ain't happening. It ain't happening. And so you get a Zoran Mamdani and his whole cast of characters that have now followed him saying free this, free that, free this. Do you know they're going with free rent? They are literally going with free rent in New York City. They're going to go for like a 6-month period of free rent. So now if you're a landlord, what are you going to do? You're going to pack up your stuff and go to Florida. That's what you're going to do. You're going to get the hell out of New York. That's what you're going to do. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to just sit in New York and have a building that they can't even maintain because they're not getting any income, and they're going to come out of their pocket and fix the plumbing while they're getting no revenue in. They're going to continue to give revenue out to a building that they got no revenue coming back from. You really think that's going to work? Well, history tells us that it doesn't, that it simply doesn't. It simply doesn't. And so the Democratic Party is in utter disarray. And that's why they have to move off Plattner at this point, because this most recent allegation that broke this morning is about as solid as it gets. Politico is reporting it. They're a very, very reputable news organization, A. B, the woman whose name is Jenny Resicott, R-E-C-I-C-O-T, Resicott, they met on an app back in 2019. The allegation came up in 2021, where she described to Politico, she was at home one night. They had been dating. They had had consensual sex. He was drunk as a skunk. She didn't want to see him. She came to the house. He came to the house anyway. She was upstairs, managed to get into her house, went upstairs, and this was her description to Politico. I remember him grabbing my pelvis and being really forceful with me. I remember the specific moment where I thought to myself, like, this is no longer my choice. He raped her. He raped her. There's never been a charge of rape. All the previous charges have been sexual assault. This is a credible woman who didn't notify the police. And normally I'm not a big fan of this, coming back some 5 years later, having not gone to the police. However, she went to several different sources at the time. She's on record sending text messages and emails to friends and therapists explaining exactly what had happened the night before. And her description back in 2022, is that when it happened? What did I say, 21? 21, her description in 2021 matches exactly the description she gave to the New York Times. This is about as solid a story as you can get. And I don't know much. I'm not that intelligent. But I know a little bit about logic, and I know a little bit about politics. And the Democratic Party is sitting right now talking about it. Literally, right now, they're talking about this. We got a week to make up our minds. We either hang on to a guy who's had previous accusations of sexual harassment, a guy who wore a Nazi symbol on his chest for 18 years and claimed that he didn't know what it was, although his girlfriend knew what it meant because she insisted that he explained to her what it meant. So she knew what it meant, but he didn't. That's his story, and he stuck with it. And now on top of all of that, after all the smoke and all of that, they got him through the primary, and now it's a dead heat. I think he's leading maybe by a point or two over Susan Collins up in Maine. Now a rape charge. This isn't even a call. This isn't even a prediction. They being the Democratic Party, have absolutely no choice. Let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, you will hear a little bit from Graham Plattner. He put on this long video today because he had to do something. That's how serious it was. He had a rack today. And he put out this 10-minute video. I don't know how much of that you clipped, but we've got a little bit of it. You'll hear from this Nazi when we come back. Then at the bottom of the hour, breaking the law is our theme today. Paul Pelosi hit something on his way home. No. To be fair to Mr. Nancy, he stopped. He stopped after he hit something. He stopped after he hit something because his car stopped. The technology forced him to stop. But he literally hit a car on his way home, put it in reverse, and tried to make it home. And when the cops showed up at his house, he said, yeah, I hit something. I just didn't know what it was. Wait till you hear this guy's whole entire history. Quick timeout. We're coming right back. It's the Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 AM 1230. And we're streaming live, kernradio.com. Hey, Siri. Call Mom.
Kern Radio. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN. Maxwell in the morning. Good till the last mic drop.
A educational conversation between J.D. Vance and Bill Maher. This is the opportunity. This is the door that's been opened. You got 13 members now of the Democrat Party saying, hey, we like capitalism. And this is the opportunity for other Democrats that agree with Bill Maher that let's take our party back and let's get off this road to socialism.
Weekdays 9 to noon. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
The Kern Radio studios are powered by Adaptive Networks. Call them today at 661-241-0638. 241-0638. Hit them online at adaptive-net.com. And, I've talked a lot about Adaptive Networks, but, at the end of the day, what it really comes down to is simple customer service. That's really what they hang their hat on. They are outstanding and excellent. And when it comes to IT, that is a great demand. I've told you time and time again, as a radio station, we lean on these people. They are a part of our radio station because without our IT, we have absolutely nothing. They are quick, they are reliable, and again, they depend on their customer service. We had one of their clients come in and just extol the virtues of being a client of the folks at Adaptive Networks. Call them today, 241-0638. That's 241-0638. Or keep it locked. Join us on Wednesday when Jennifer and Ryan Van Alstyne join us live in studio.
You can't escape a traffic jam. Know what else you can't escape?
Why don't you let me Uber you there now? Why don't you just go now? Get dressed, and I'll
and you might think you can avoid that coffee stain until... Oh, really? You can't escape a lot of things in life, but you can escape prediabetes. Prediabetes captures 1 in 3 adults.
You can't walk?
There are usually no signs of prediabetes. In fact, most people don't even know they have it. But with early diagnosis, you can change the outcome and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Take action by taking the 1-minute risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. You might not be able to escape having this song stuck in your head, but you can escape prediabetes. Go to doihaveprediabetes.org today. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
Meet Paul Sheldon's client, Dr. Roland Rodriguez.
Hello, this is Bakersfield General Surgeon, Dr. Roland Rodriguez, client and friend of Mr. Paul Sheldon. It is my great pleasure and privilege to relate to all of you my absolute exemplary experience with Team Paul Sheldon. I have also referred a number of my colleagues to Paul Sheldon's office, only to receive the most stellar feedback from my doctor friends regarding the office's expert navigation through the complex maze that is Medicare. And even though Paul Sheldon himself is now facing some temporary health challenges, his longstanding and most experienced and expertly trained team of ladies, Christine, Kelly, and Lynn, continue to
this is Ralph. Would you get up off your fucking ass and go see about your mother?
Medicare.
She apparently is not feeling well, and you were sitting in Moreno Valley. She can't even get to the hospital. Get up off your fucking lazy ass and get to her apartment right now.
Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298. I'm the thread that's already inside the house. In the closet, under the bed, in the car. But I don't want your money or your TV. I can't be scared away or negotiated with. I'm patient and quiet. I don't sleep. You can't call the cops on me. You can't even see me. I'm the threat of family fire. And as long as your guns aren't stored securely, I'll be there. Protect your family. Secure all your guns. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
842-537-6842-KERN. We head into the back half of the hour. Give you more on Graham Plattner. We'll recap our top story of the day, this whole FIFA nonsense, and we'll talk a little sports. You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. A former campus police officer says he found an apparent sniper pad on a gravel rooftop near where Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Monday's courtroom testimony by the former officer comes as prosecutors seek to show they have enough evidence to put defendant Tyler Robinson on trial for murder. After a story was published in Politico in which a woman declared that Democratic senatorial candidate from Maine, Graham Plattner, forced himself upon her, Plattner denied the charge on X. However, Plattner says, quote, regardless of the inaccuracy of the reporting, but mindful of the political reality it will inflict, we are taking the time to reflect on the best path forward. Plattner is running as a Democrat against incumbent Susan Collins in May. More details at srnnews.com.
My doctor told me my cholesterol is borderline.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Headlines from the KERN Newsroom.
I'm Chris Davis. 4 people were hurt in a shooting that happened early Sunday morning on Decatur Street in Bakersfield, says the Kern County Sheriff's Office. They say one of the people who had to go to the hospital was a child. They did not say how old. No information on any possible suspects has been provided. K-9 Officer Santee with the Fresno County Sheriff's Office is dead, and deputies are blaming his death partially on people setting off illegal fireworks on Independence Day night. The deputy, who was Santee's partner, let the 5-year-old Belgian Malinois out to do his business, and someone set off an aerial mortar. The dog bolted, jumped a fence, and ran into traffic, and his partner found him mortally wounded. Deputies say it was a hit and run. No one has been arrested. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
Attention, Medicare beneficiaries in Kern County. Are you looking for a doctor who truly listens, someone who cares about your health and respects your time with minimal wait times and prompt referral authorizations? Well, it may be time to learn about QualCare IPA. QualCare IPA partners with most Medicare Advantage health plans, giving you access to a large, community-based network of outstanding physicians and quality hospitals right here in Kern County. Local doctors, trusted hospitals, personalized care. Medicare Advantage plans offer benefits beyond original Medicare, but understanding your options for 2026 can feel overwhelming. That's where we can help. Call 661-554-4544 today to learn more about your Medicare Advantage choices. Our knowledgeable team is ready to help you understand your coverage options and make confident decisions about your care. Again, that's 661-554-4544. Get the information you need and the coverage you deserve. For accommodations of persons with special needs at meetings, call 661-554-4544, TTY 711.
First Look with Scott Cox, mornings 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Tuesday edition of the First Look program, we'll talk water with the best in the business. That'd be Lois Henry from sjvwater.org. And with any luck, we'll have some fireworks citation statistics from city or county. We'll see what we'll do. We got news and traffic and weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 right here at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
July 13th, they have till next Monday to get Graham Plattner off the ticket. And it's either you come up with a brand new candidate who represents Graham Plattner's views, or you go with Janet Mills, a popular governor who couldn't hold Graham Plattner's boots. He destroyed her in the primary as a fellow Democrat. And she's an older woman. If she were to win that seat, if she were to beat Susan Collins, she'd be the oldest member of the Senate. So it's not what Maine voters are looking for, an old woman to replace this young, beyond being a horrible human being and a Nazi, beyond that, he's an attractive candidate. He is a former military guy. I believe he was a former Marine or maybe in the Army. I can't even remember. But he fought for his country. He's a very progressive, as they're very progressive in Maine. And he represents a whole new shift in Democratic politics that Janet Mills just doesn't and can't represent. So they're in a fix. Do we put up a losing candidate who was the second most popular? Or in less than a week, do we find somebody who can be that progressive, damn near socialist, woke, liberal that can replace Plattner? Because I'm telling you, it ain't going to be Plattner. Now, I hope it is. I hope if you're saying, oh, Bailey, you don't know what you're talking about, they're going to go with Plattner. I hope you're right. I hope I am so wrong about this that I'm wrong as wrong gets, and that they hang in with the Nazi rapist. But because he's going to lose. And that's the only reason they would move off of him. They would never move off of him for moral reasons. They just wouldn't. Because if that were the case, they would have already moved off of him. There's enough moral baggage or immoral baggage to have moved off this Nazi long time ago, if in fact that was the desire of the party. But again, and I'm sure you're tired of me talking about it, but this is all about flipping the Senate, which really isn't even about flipping the Senate. It's about getting control and being able to pack the court and change that 6-3 majority that is driving the Democratic Party absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Because they feel, and you can make a pretty good argument for it, that all these lower court wins don't mean a damn thing. Don't mean a damn thing. Because inevitably they're going to wind their way up to what they perceive as Trump's court. Now, obviously, it's a conservative court, so has it sided with a Republican president more often than not? Yes. But as we saw last week in a slew of Supreme Court decisions, they've gone against Trump. In the biggest, birthright citizenship, they absolutely slapped him down. That's not enough for the Democratic Party. That's not enough. And they're talking about going anywhere from 12 to 15, going from 9 to 12, or maybe 9 to 15 jurists. They're rolling the dice in some respects because you know what would be karma? They win the Senate in November. They change the filibuster. They make it just majority vote rules. And Marco Rubio is the president in 2029. And we packed the court to 12, and we add 3 more conservative judges just to totally solidify the Supreme Court. That would be karma. But of course, the Democrats are rolling the dice that they can win the Senate, that they can win in 29, that Gavin Newsom or J.B. Pritzker or Josh Shapiro or Kamala Harris or any one of these progressive AOC, or perhaps maybe one of these Democratic socialists, perhaps maybe even Bernie. You know, recent history, it hasn't been that long since Bernie Sanders really should have won the nomination. The Democratic Party stole the nomination from Bernie Sanders. Absolutely stole it. How'd they do it? How did they start the 24 election? They start in Iowa like we always have for the last, my entire life. I'm 60-some years old. Always start in Iowa. But somehow they changed the rules. And where did they start in 24? Oh, that's right. They started in my daddy's home state, where 27% of the population is black, which unfortunately for me as an African American means that if 27% of the population is black in the state of South Carolina, that means about 25% of the black people in South Carolina are Democrats. Because as I want to remind you, black folks are the only group on this planet where you can look them in the face and determine how they vote. Because if they got melanin in their skin and you take a guess that they're a Democrat, that's a pretty good bet. That's a pretty good bet. If you brought in 3 black people right now, 3 random black folks, I'd put $100 on each of them that they're Democrats. We're the only group that's like that. Only group. So this is going to be fun to watch how they put this thing hold together, how they try to hold this party together, particularly with the Democratic Socialists on a roll. And they are butter. They're going to continue to roll because socialism at the beginning is always a great idea. It really is. Remember the comparison we've always talked about? Like if you had 20 kids in a class and there were kids getting A's and kids getting B's and kids getting C's and kids getting D's and kids getting F's. And if you just took the numbers and spread them around so that everybody could get C's, that's socialism. And that seems like a pretty good idea. You know, the kid getting an A says, well, I don't mind getting a B. I'll give a B so that the kid that's getting an F can get a D and pass the class and move along. I don't mind. And then it happens again in your English class. Then it happens again in that class. And all of a sudden, you went from being a straight A student to all of a sudden you're getting straight B's. And all of a sudden, you're like, wait a minute now, wait a minute. And that's when it gets back to socialism. That's why the Margaret Thatcher quote is so incredibly accurate and apropos. Socialism is a great idea until you run out of other people's money. And it's the same scenario in that grade situation. Until that kid realizes, wait a minute, I just went from a straight A student to a straight B student so I could give some of my points to an F or a D. No. That doesn't make sense. Like, it was okay if it's one class. But if you're going to go through all of my report card and just take from me to give to others, no. And it's going to be a great idea for a little bit, this idea of spreading the wealth and free transit and free healthcare and free rent at the expense of hardworking Americans who've saved their money, done the right thing, invested in buildings, and provided living space for people. And now Zoran Memdani is telling those people, you can't charge anything. They are literally trying to change the scope of the United States and move us from a merit-based capitalist society to let's just share the wealth. Let's just all have a kumbaya moment and put a limit. This is what they're talking about. If you haven't been reading the paper, well, we'll put a limit on how much money a man can earn. And then once he exceeds that, we'll put that back in the pot and redistribute it among the poor. It's literally been tried since Robin Hood. And it just doesn't work. And now Democrats don't know what to do. They can't, you already saw Kamala reaching out to Zoran Memdani. That wasn't a private call. She didn't do that clandestinely. She did that openly and released it to the press. Why? Because that was a political move. That's what that was. That wasn't a phone call. That was an orchestrated political maneuver. Kamala Harris sat in a room with her advisors, and they said, the best way to reformulate your campaign is to do one of the 3 things that Ralph Bailey talks about. Madam Vice President, there's a movement going forward. It's called democratic socialism. You can do one of 3 things, because I listen to the Ralph Bailey show. And you can either ignore it, you can either try to stop it, or you can get in front of it. And that's why she called Zoran Memdani. That's why it wasn't a clandestine call. That's why it was late to the press, because she wants all those young progressive socialists to know I got you. I'm one of you. I'm with you. That's what that was. That was an absolute political maneuver by a desperate woman who at least is smart enough to know, I can't win this on my own. I can't do this by myself. I tried in 2020, and I didn't even get past Iowa. I tried in 2024, but that's because I only had 107 days. It's not because I'm inept. It's not because I talk in word salad. It's not that I have never really won anything without the help of Willie Brown. But now I've got young people on my side, and that's what she's trying to do. And that's a decision now that the Democratic Party has to do. Because remember what I told you the night that one of the three, and I don't know the three women's name, but they all beat longtime Democrat incumbents. And in one of the nights when one of the speakers was addressing their constituents in their victory lap, they started chanting, Hakeem Jeffries, you're next. Hakeem Jeffries, you're next. The House Minority Leader. So what do you do if you're Hakeem Jeffries? Do you rebuke all that they're saying? Good luck getting reelected with all the Jews in your constituency. Because again, that's what the Democratic Socialists are saying. That's one of their leading tenets. Screw Israel. Screw Bibi Netanyahu and screw the Jews. Screw them. We should have no business in any kind of relationship with them. What do we owe them? So now that's going to become the Democratic policy now? That's what Hakeem Jeffries and Kamala Harris are going to try to win with? Good luck with that. It's going to be fun to watch. It really is. Because they basically, their job now is to get a square peg into a circular figure. And it can't be done. And how they try to figure it out is going to be so much fun to watch. And how this Graham Plattner thing unfolds in the next week and how they get rid of him. Because you know he'll go kicking and screaming. He's going to go kicking and screaming. Let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, you will actually hear from the Nazi. We've got some audio from Graham Plattner. I wouldn't be surprised if they make a move as early as tomorrow. I don't think they're going to wait until the 13th. If you're just joining us, they have in Maine until July 13th, a week from today, to take Plattner off the ballot and replace him with either Governor Janet Mills, who was second but got destroyed by the Nazi, or they come up with another young Democratic Socialist progressive. That, I think, is their best bet. You can't go with Janet Mills. She's just too old. She's just too old. And that's not ageism. That's just the reality. She would be, if she were to win, the oldest sitting senator in the Senate, which is saying, please stand by. Hey, Siri, how old is Governor Janet Mills?
Janet Mills is
She's 78 years old. You know what I'm saying? These young Maine progressives are not going to go for a 78-year-old former governor. They're just not. So my guess is they move off Plattner as early as tomorrow, maybe Wednesday at the latest, and they come up with another candidate because they can't go with a 78-year-old to go up against Susan Collins, who's also in her 70s. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Quick timeout. We'll check the board, see what you all are talking about. We'll get into the five, talk a little sports, talk about get you caught up on Wimbledon. Big day at the all-lawn tennis tournament in London, England. And the Dodgers are on a roll. And the All-Star team came out. 4 Dodgers made the All-Star team. One for the very first time. And our third baseman made it. Who was the last third baseman from the Dodgers to go to an All-Star game, Chris Burdick?
Beltran?
That's a good guess. I have interviewed this man.
It's got to be recent.
No, it's the exact opposite.
Not recent.
No, it's my childhood.
One of the 4 men that's over there?
Yes. Oh, I took it home.
Oh, that's right. You took it home.
Yes, but it is one of those 4 men. Now, who was the third baseman? Was one of the 4 men that hit.
Oh, it's the one that ran for.
No, that's Garvey.
Wasn't Garvey?
I'll do an impression.
Waddle.
Okay.
Not
Waddle. Talk to me. What Waddles?
Penguins.
Okay. The Penguin. Talk to me. People
I
are screaming at their radio, Chris. Screaming. The Penguin. Talk to me. Talk to me, son. Ron Say.
Thank you.
The Penguin. The last of the Beltry was a good guess. I would have bet Beltry, but I guess he made the All-Star team when he went to Texas. Quick timeout. We're coming right back. It's TRBS on a Monday on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. And we're streaming live at KernRadio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. First Look with Scott Cox, morning 6 to 9 a.m.
Imagine that Cassie Biddle, this young woman, this young, smart businesswoman, part of the planning commission, could take Casey Steakhouse to an entirely different level. She's established the Stockyard next door, which has been an absolute game changer. They have a banquet room where medical facilities meet for meetings, and Kathy Abernathy uses it for election nights, and you can have dinner in there. You can enjoy the craft cocktails. They have live music. And of course, Jimmy and Bobby are providing live music in the main restaurant Tuesday through Saturday. Where would you rather be? Great way to beat the heat. Head to F Street and enjoy KC Steakhouse, the finest steakhouse in all of Kern County and a longtime sponsor of the Ralph Bailey.
Hey, I'm not one to say I told you so, but do you remember last year when I told you that Pure Talk was hands down the best wireless company that I'd ever used? Well, some of you were skeptical, but Consumer Reports just asked 120,000 people to rate every wireless company in America, including the big boys. Well, guess which company was the only company to get 5 stars in every category? Yeah, Pure Talk. Coverage, support, value, data. 5 stars across the board. No service contracts, no cancellation fees, just great U.S. customer service on a crazy fast 5G network for a fraction of what you've been paying. I'm not going to say I told you so, but I will encourage you one more time to dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and switch to a 5-star American wireless company that won't let you down. Pure Talk.
Are you looking for a hospital that truly cares for your health and well-being? At Good Samaritan Hospital, they provide high-quality medical detox, psychiatric services, and medical and surgical care. They accept most insurances, including Medi-Cal, Medicare, and Kern Family. They offer Kern County's longest-standing inpatient detox program with dual diagnosis that combines medical care and withdrawal management all under one roof. Learn more at GoodSamaritanHospital.com or call 661-215-7500. Good Samaritan Hospital. They care for their community.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
842-537-6842-KERN. As we've been talking about the situation in Maine, Graham Plattner had to come out with something today. He gave I don't know, did you see the video? Did you get it from the raw video?
I got it from Forbes. It's about
So
2
how
minutes
long?
long.
How long is the whole thing?
The whole video I saw was about 2 minutes long.
No, it's longer than that. I think it's maybe I didn't see them. Maybe it just seemed that long. I don't know. But he went on a whole defense. He had to, because now the stakes are higher. She's claiming rape. She's claiming this young woman by the name of Jenny. And here's the thing. There's another nail in his coffin. You know, one of the ways they staved off, they being the Democrats, staved off the early allegations where they were all Democrats, or excuse me, they were all Republicans. And one was an ardent Republican, ardent Trump supporter. This woman is a Democrat. And in some of the communications, one of the reasons she says she didn't want to rat him out was because of his PTSD and because of his growing political career. She was looking out for this guy. So now there's no motive for her to lie. She's a liberal Democrat who liked the guy and defended him, and in fact hid many of his secrets to promote his career. But obviously, guilt or some moral obligation got to her at the 11th hour, and she's told her story. And as far as I can see, it's pretty airtight. So that's why I'm on the record of saying that the Democrats are going to have to move off of this guy within the week. Meantime, here is the Nazi, Graham Plattner.
I wanted to directly address the troubling, serious, and false allegations against me. Any accusation of non-consensual behavior is categorically false.
I mean, how many times can you deny? And how many times can you deny a woman who claims that something happened years ago and she just coincidentally called or contacted via text message or through email her therapist and several friends? It's just a coincidence, Graham, that she's claiming that it happened on a Monday night, and then the very next Tuesday morning, she contacts these 4 people, and this has been on the record for years, long before you thought about running for Senate, long before the Democrats wanted to flip the Senate, long before they thought of packing the court, long before they thought of making Washington and Puerto Rico states. This woman was on record, a fellow Democrat who had kept your secrets to promote you and gave you a pass because of your alleged PTSD. But her story that she gave the night after this allegedly happened is absolutely consistent with the story that she gave Politico. That he came to the house, she said don't. He maneuvered and manipulated his way into the house. She was upstairs, didn't even know he'd entered the house. So was she probably giving him a key, or maybe he knew how to get in, or maybe there was a key secret somewhere outside that he knew about, but he gets into the house, she doesn't even know he's there. He comes upstairs, she kind of fights him off, she tries to go in her bedroom, and that's where she claims that she used the words, where I thought to myself, like, this is no longer my choice. They have, and now I believe the Democrats have no choice. And again, as we head into the 5 o'clock hour, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I am as wrong gets. And these hypocritical, immoral Democrats stand behind this Nazi and try to get him over the finish line. I will drop on my knees and pray to the heavens that I'm wrong and they stand by this guy, because that ends all the dreams. The Senate remains ours. There's no threat of the filibuster. There's no packing of the court, and it is all, and it really puts the spotlight on who and what the Democratic Party is and what they stand for. And that is victory at all costs, particularly if they stand by him. But I mean, this is a party that goes against 80-20 decisions. This is a party that's still fighting transgender athletes. So to say, because I base my predictions on what would I do? I'm a fairly smart political guy. If I were head of the Democratic Party, what would I do right now? I would have his ass so far off that ballot it'd make your head spin. But again, this is a party that is still trying to get biological boys to play with biological women. This is a party that believes that poor old black folks don't have the wherewithal to get a government-issued identification. So then, would I be shocked if they stood by the Nazi? No, I'd be surprised, but I wouldn't be shocked. Final hour of the broadcast. I would stick around if I you.
Kern Radio, AM 1230, KERN, 96.1 FM, K241CI Bakersfield, an American General Media station.
Hall, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. A preliminary hearing for the man accused of assassinating conservative activist Charlie Kirk began in Provo, Utah today.
We've heard prosecutors bring forth their first witness, a former Utah Valley University police officer who was on duty during the speaking event where Kirk was shot. He is part of a presentation by prosecutors who are trying to convince a judge this week that they have enough evidence against defendant Tyler Robinson to proceed to a trial. Robinson has been sitting with his attorneys, mostly looking forward, taking notes, and the Kirk family has been passing around tissues and at times getting up, leaving the courtroom and trying to collect themselves when they got too emotional and needed a moment.
Correspondent Hannah Schernbaum reporting. Cuba's electric system suffered a countrywide blackout under President Trump's oil embargo.
Fuel reserves have been dwindling since President Trump threatened tariffs on any country that provides oil to the island. A delivery by a Russian tanker back in March ran out by the end of April. As for healthcare, Mario Cruz with the World Health Organization says over 100,000 surgeries have been postponed, including those for pediatric patients. Like many Cubans, 33-year-old Mario Pedroso was resigned about the total blackout. Oil hasn't come in here for a while, he says, and we have no way to solve the problem. We have to resist, as we Cubans say. That's all. I'm Jennifer King.
President Trump rang the opening bell on Wall Street today while promoting his new Trump accounts to give kids under the age of 18 a financial head start with government seed money and contributions from families, employers, or charities. On Wall Street, the Dow by 155 points, the Nasdaq rose 288, the S&P advanced 54. More at townhall.com.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30 plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found tax relief advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called them. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100, and I'm telling you, I was ecstatic. Could not believe it. Would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did. They gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-575-8924. 800-575-8924. That's 800-575-8924.
Small business owners in U.S. tourist.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update.
4 people are in the hospital in a shooting on Decatur Street. I'm Chris Davis, and that includes 1 child. The shooting was Sunday morning about 1:40, says the Kern County Sheriff's Office. They say all 4 people were taken to the hospital soon after the shooting, but did not specify whether all 4 were shot. They also did not say exactly how old the child is, nor what their conditions were. No suspect information has been shared, and little has been released about the motive. K-9 Officer Santee with the Fresno County Sheriff's Office is dead, and deputies are blaming his death partially on people setting off illegal fireworks on Independence Day night. The deputy, who was Santee's partner, let the 5-year-old Belgian Malinois out to do his business, and someone set off an aerial mortar. The dog bolted, jumped a fence, and ran into traffic, and his partner found him mortally wounded. Santee died at the animal hospital. He had been with the department for 4 years. Deputies say it was a hit and run. It wasn't just illegal fireworks, and 5,000 pounds of them, by the way, that Bakersfield police found and seized while raiding what they say were 2 illegal dispensaries last week. They also found weed and hemp products, steroids, and $9,000 in cash. The dispensaries were on East California Avenue, right across from Our Lady of Guadalupe Church. 3 people face drug charges now: 38-year-old Richard Moran, 22-year-old Frankie Apodaca, and 27-year-old Philip Padilla. You will likely see gas prices come down more this week after the announcement from OPEC that they will be putting more oil out because of oil tankers going more freely through the Strait of Hormuz. Right now, the average price for a gallon of regular gas in California is $5.32 per gallon, says Gas Buddy. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Welcome to the Westworld. In a month from now, this Hollywood Big Shot's gonna give you what you want. Too late. They start shooting in a week. I'm gonna make them an offer again.
The Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Final hour of the broadcast on this Monday, 6th day of July. This is the Ralph Bailey Show. I want to make an apology. Jay Reed, one of our program directors, was in Lisa's office where she has the show up on YouTube. Then apparently I was caught on what they call a hot mic. I forgot to turn this off. And I wasn't going to discuss this, but since I got caught basically cursing out one of my family members, I suppose I have to explain. My family's going through a lot right now. My mother suffered a minor heart attack Thursday as I was leaving here, literally Thursday night. I was in an Uber and got a phone call from my nephew that my mother had suffered this minor heart attack. She's fine. She's at home. They're not worried about her heart. They're worried about her kidneys. She's been on dialysis for about 3 or 4 months now, and that is the issue. And I apologize. Again, I do it all the time. I forget that I'm mic'd up. And I was having a conversation with a member of my family, and I was not very happy with her not immediately going to see after my mom. And I'm just as guilty because I probably should have taken maybe this whole week off and stayed in LA and just seen her through what she was going through. But she seemed fine Saturday when my nephew and I left. And she was just complaining of some pain, and I started to panic. I called my uncle, I called my sister. I couldn't get a hold of my nephew, and then I even panicked more when I called my mom and she didn't answer. So then I called my sister back, and that's who I was yelling at. And I apologize if, again, I forgot that I am mic'd up and still mic'd up. But I just wanted to explain that. I apologize for those of you that are watching on YouTube. Back to our top story of the day, this whole FIFA nonsense that the president has interfered with a damn soccer game. And this is all about Trump derangement. Who is the biggest critic of Donald Trump? Ralph Bailey. And even I am defending the president on this. This is absurd. I don't believe that somebody tore a 350-foot gap in the reflecting pool. I don't believe half of what the president has said about the war. But I am absolutely willing to give the leader of the free world a pass for making a phone call to the head of FIFA, who then said, I'll hand it over to the committee. And the committee voted to reinstate this, to relook at this thing, and to allow this, say his name?
Balogun.
What's his first name?
Just Flo.
You can't say it either?
No. And we all call everybody I've seen on television calls him Flo. So
It's
I'm going with Flo.
spelled Folarin. Folarin?
I think it's, yeah.
Folarin? Bologun? Bologun?
Bologun, yeah.
Bologun? Okay. And this guy's a badass, huh?
Yep.
Is he our best player?
Arguably. He's
By far?
definitely scored the most goals.
Yeah. What time does this thing start?
It's already started.
Really?
It's above my head right now.
Hang on a second. Do a little song and dance while I bring down the
And
drinks.
again, if you're looking to watch this after the Ralph Bailey show ends at 6 o'clock, you can catch it on most Fox Sports, I believe. And if you're looking for a streaming option, Peacock has Telemundo connected as well. Now, again, I like it in Telemundo because I find their broadcasters a little more exciting.
Go! And in fact, there is a goal. Who was that? Was that us or Belgium? I can't tell.
That's Belgium.
That's Belgium. Those are the ugliest. Of course, that's Belgium. Those are the ugliest uniforms I have ever seen in my life. Belgium just scored. It's 1-0 Belgium. Wouldn't it be funny if we got shut out after all this nonsense, after all this complaining, after all the political analysis? It was the lead story on every single news show this morning. Like every single news show on Fox, on CNN, on MSN Now. I'm not sure the Today Show led with it. I think they led with the weather, with the heat, because the people are dying back east.
Ugh.
But this is much ado about absolutely nothing as far as I'm concerned. And from what I understand, and again, I don't know anything about this. I don't know anything about soccer. I don't know anything about the World Cup. I don't know anything about FIFA. I didn't even look it up to tell you what the acronym stands for. Do you know what the acronym stands for? I don't even know.
Football International.
Hey Siri, what is the acronym FIFA?
The answer I found is FIFA.
Federation Internationale de Football Association. So
the Federal International Football Association.
Yeah.
From what I understand, more crooked than the mob. More crooked than the mafia. Now, was this crooked? I don't know if you could call it crooked. Did they bend the rules? I suppose so, but it's been done in the past. And it's a soccer game. And like I said, weren't you fellow old folks, weren't we all raised where our coach would say, I don't care if they scouted us. I'll go over there and give them our playbook. It's about execution. It's about us being better than them. And why Belgium would fight to keep arguably one of the best players in the whole tournament off the field. What are you, insecure? Wouldn't it have been nice, kind of a 20th century throwback, if Belgium had just said, we welcome it. We want to play the best of the best. We didn't want to play the United States at their weakness and have them lose without their best player and say, well, that's why Belgium won, not because Belgium was the better team. I'm serious. I'm not making this up. There was an era in this country, in this world, where back in the day, a team would have been like, no, we're not going to appeal this. We want their best. We want to see their best player. But not in today's world. Not in today's world. But in the meantime, Belgium leads 1-0. You guys are going to call me a communist because I'm almost rooting for Belgium at this point. Just to make it just such a, because if they win 2-1 and our boy Folo or whatever the hell his name is hits the winning kick, then it becomes a whole new story tomorrow. It's a whole new story that I have to talk about again tomorrow if he gets the winning kick to win the game.
The savior of America.
Yes, Trump saves America. The bully cheats again. America bends the rules. Corrupt FIFA helps the poor United States. Now, why wasn't that a red card? That was just as vicious as the controversial call. Did he even get a yellow for that?
What?
That play right there.
What, kicking the ball off your face?
Kicking that kid in the shin.
No, you don't get yellow carded for that.
That was as vicious as the call they made against Flo. Just saying. It's ridiculous. It's a contact sport.
It actually is, which is wild.
Big on
Highest paid actors in the world, though, right there.
what?
Soccer players.
Oh, they're the biggest floppers. They're bigger than LeBron. It's crazy. They're bigger than WNBA players.
I
It's
am getting a
ridiculous.
text here, though, from a listener asking for no game updates.
Oh, sorry. You're DVRing it. You're at work. My bad.
It happens early. You're not missing much.
Well, you know it's 1-0. I won't give you any further updates. But it is 1-0 Belgium. I'll leave it alone with that. Oh Lord. Oof. It was almost 2-0 Belgium, but I won't say anything further. I won't say anything further.
I have to turn the game off.
It was damn near, yeah, I'm gonna pull the drapes up. It was damn near 2-0. All right, let's go ahead and take a break. We'll come back. We'll check the board, see what you all are talking about. And again, we'll talk a little sports. The newest Laker has a new bride, and what a bride. What a catch.
She's very pretty.
Oh, you looked her up?
I did.
Well, yeah, she's Miss America. She's got to be pretty. Where's she from?
I didn't check that.
Walker Kessler, the newest Laker, proposed to the 2025 Miss America, Abby Stockard.
Alabama.
She's from Alabama. A lot of beautiful women in Alabama. What was the other beauty queen that married the quarterback? Was that McCarron?
Yes, AJ.
AJ McCarron married a beauty queen. Yep. Almost ruined Brett Musburger's career. You remember that? You remember that? They show a shot. So AJ McCarron was a pretty good quarterback for Alabama. I think he got drafted by Philly.
Cincinnati.
And he didn't make it. Is he still in the league even? I don't even think he's still in the league.
I think he's in the XFL.
Yeah, he was a bust. He was a bust. He was on a great Alabama team. And his bride was a pageant winner. I don't think she was Miss America.
No, but she was very pretty. I think she was Miss Alabama or something.
Like an 11. She was stupid. So, as they tend to do, they have to give the obligatory shot of her. And in this one game where AJ was really playing well, they showed several shots of his gorgeous girlfriend. And then Brett Musburger made, I can't even remember what he said.
I can't either.
But he said something untoward. Something like, look what AJ's got waiting for him after the game. Or just something kind of screwy.
What like it doesn't matter if he wins or loses, like he's got that waiting for him at the end of the game.
Something like that. Something like,
he tried to make it seem wholesome, but it wasn't.
But it wasn't. It was creepy. From a 70-year-old man talking about a 19-year-old girl. Just shut up, Brett, and call the game. And it damn near cost his career. And then didn't he end up going? Isn't that when he ended up going with us? Isn't that when he ended up coming to the Raiders?
I think so.
When he left network, he came to the Raiders.
Be the main
radio guy. Is he still with us?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I haven't heard it on the radio in a while.
I don't even know if Brett Musburger is still alive, to be honest with you. Quick timeout. We're coming right back. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on a Monday. Tomorrow, we'll talk with Teresa Goldner live via the Rogers Brandon Global Telephone Network from Brooklyn Heights, New York. And Howard Marcus joins us. We got a big week. Wednesday, Clayton Campbell's going to join us. And on Thursday, thanks to Stan Ellis, we're going to talk to the Republican running for Attorney General. That's all coming up this week right here on the Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 AM 1230. And we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. First Look with Scott Cox, morning 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Tuesday edition of the First Look program, we'll talk water with the best in the business. That'd be Lois Henry from SJVwater.org. And with any luck, we'll have some fireworks citation statistics from city or county. We'll see what we'll do. We got news and traffic and weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 right here at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
You know, it must be nice to be able to retire like Serena Williams and then say, I'm unretired. Most of us, that's not the case. When we hang it up, that's about it. That's why you've got to be prepared for the late fourth quarter in your lives. And that's why I always stress that the smartest financial move I have ever made happened about 10 years ago when I became a client at Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors. And the other thing I always remind you about, I've turned on colleagues here at American General Media to Daniel, and they could not be happier about what Daniel has done for them financially. Call Daniel Petrie at 395-9400, 395-9400, or just tune in on Thursdays. He appears here every Thursday at 4:30, and his office is located right on the corner of 21st and Oak. Daniel Petrie and the folks at Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors.
This broadcast is for informational purposes only and does not constitute investment advice or a solicitation for advisory services by Daniel Petrie or MPWA Incorporated, DBA, Messmaker, and Petrie Wealth Advisors. The program host is a client and receives compensation and other financial benefits in connection with this advertisement, creating a conflict of interest. Experiences discussed may not be representative of other clients.
Out here in the middle of all these acres, it can feel like you're the only person on earth. And sometimes that's how it feels when you're going through tough times. Stress builds up, you have trouble sleeping. Maybe your mind is racing and you just don't feel like yourself. So what do? We get help. Lots of people are struggling with their mental health. It's more common than you think. The good news is there are people in our community who are here for us when times are tough. Sometimes just talking to someone can make all the difference in the world, so we don't feel so alone. One thing you can do is visit loveyourmindtoday.org for simple steps you can take to find the right solution for you. Whether it's hearing stories about what other people are going through or finding the resources we need to navigate the stresses in our lives. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Hey, this is Terry Maxwell. You know, one thing I've never enjoyed is painting. It takes time, patience, and real skill to do it right. That's why when it comes to painting my home or business, I trust the professionals at Howling Painting. Howling Painting is family-owned and operated right here in Kern County and has proudly served our community since 1978. They were even voted Best of Bakersfield, Best Painting Company in 2025 and 2026. Whether it's residential or commercial, interior or exterior, Howling Painting delivers top-quality work at competitive prices. Their team is dedicated to exceptional service and results that exceed expectations. And they don't consider the job finished until you're completely satisfied. Plus, they're fully licensed and insured, so you can feel confident your property is in the good hands from the start to the finish. Get a free, no-obligation consultation today at Howling Painting. That's HALLING.com or call 872-0988. Howling Painting, quality works you can trust.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Eight 842-537-6842 KERN. What do you got on the board?
Let's see. Ralph, you and Messburger sound like birds of a feather.
Me and Musburger sound like birds of a feather. So what is that? Your kind of what's the word I'm looking for? When you do something, but you don't intend to do it, but you're doing it. What's the phrase? Passive aggressive.
Yeah.
Is that your passive aggressive way of calling me a creepy old man? Why don't you just call me a creepy old man? But whatever. What else you got?
How much of the U.S. economy and wealth distribution is done by the insider trading at the White House, Senate, and House of Representatives? When are we going to stop believing all of this?
Believing what? I don't understand that. I understand
first part.
There's no question. You know, that's why I found the hypocrisy in the liberals lighting up Donald Trump for earning $2 billion last year in crypto. They're all crooks. We've talked about, how long have I been talking about Jasmine Crockett and the fact that she makes 107? I've even talked about Kevin McCarthy. Like, where did he amass his wealth? Like, he's making a ton of money now because he's out of Congress, but he's living a pretty good life. Way over $175,000 lifestyle. Let's just put it that way. Jasmine Crockett is making $175,000 a year, and she owns 3 homes. Yes, she has a law degree, but she doesn't practice law. Her sole income is the $175,000 a year she makes from Congress, and yet she is a multimillionaire. They're all multimillionaires, and they have these salaries that some of you have here in Kern County. I have friends that are making $175,000. I got friends that are pharmaceutical reps that make more than $175,000 a year. They don't have 3 homes. You know, maybe they have a cabin up in the mountains and their home here. You know what I'm saying? But 3 separate homes, not like a cabin, not like a getaway place, but a home on $175,000. So they're all a bunch of crooks. The Obamas were never wealthy. Never in their lives were they wealthy. Were they rich? Of course they were rich. But there's a difference between rich and wealthy. This is my class scale. Well off, rich, wealthy, affluent, and then stupid money. Like the billionaires are stupid money. I think people that have hundreds of millions of dollars, the Kardashian women are affluent. I think that athletes are wealthy because they make tens of millions. And then I think if you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars, you're rich. And yes, an attorney like Michelle Obama and Barack Obama can make hundreds of thousands of dollars and be rich. But they only got wealthy when they got into politics. They only got a home in Martha's Vineyard after they became president of the United States. So it's all corrupt. And if you're gonna chastise the president for dipping his bread in the illegal gravy, then you better go back and start with the House. You better start with Nancy Pelosi. I don't have time to give you the whole story about how, because it's a convoluted story about how they outlawed something the night before she dumped all her stocks and then tried to call it a coincidence. I mean, is there anybody out there, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, is there one person out there that does not believe that the House and the Senate and everybody at Capitol Hill is involved in insider trading? Is there one of you that's like, no, Ralph, I don't think they inside trade. I think they're honest people. I think they take their $175,000 a year and they go home and that's what they live on. Is there one of you that thinks like that? No, not one of you. Whether you're a Democrat, whether you're a Democratic Socialist, whether you're a Republican, whether you're a Libertarian, whether you're one of those white supremacists that marched on DC this weekend. None of us, all of us agree that it's all insider trading. So pick your poison. If you want to pick on the president for his, and I do believe, illicit manipulation of crypto, I think there was a manipulation of the war. I think that they absolutely manipulated. I think when the president said things are going well, the stocks went up. And when things weren't going so well, they sold and stocks went down. But if you're going to convict one, you've got to convict a whole lot of them. You can't just pick and choose. And that, once again, gets back to Trump derangement syndrome. It's plain and simple. One more, and let's try to get to the bottom of the hour.
I listen to your show, but unfortunately it comes on while I'm at work, so I catch little bits here and there. But you're freaking hilarious when somebody asks a dumb question.
Well, there's an easy, God, I'm blacking out. I can't concentrate today. I apologize. There's an easy fix for that, and it's called YouTube. And it's one of the best aspects of YouTube that I have started to witness, where we average anywhere from 150 to, on a good day, about 200 viewers. But what I have enjoyed is, like, right before I go to sleep, right around 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, I'll just go check in to see what the number is. And many times it'll go from 135 to, by the time I check it at 10:30, to 175, 180. Meaning that people are utilizing YouTube to go back and either rehear an interview that they didn't hear, or go back and listen to the show to parts that they missed, or just listen to the whole damn show because you were at work. But I'm really happy about that. That's really what that segment is about, the whole YouTube thing. The ability to go back and watch it whenever you want. If your kids happen to come on here for whatever reason, or somebody you're related to, or somebody that you know, and you don't have time at 3:30 to stop what you're doing and listen to that interview, you can go back after dinner anytime you want, and you don't have to listen to the whole show. There's a little red mark on the bottom of the screen, and you can just time forward it, and it's obviously 2:57 because it's a 3-hour show, and just try to figure out the time that it occurred, and then time sync it up, and you can watch that entire segment. Final half hour of the broadcast on this Monday. I would stick around if I you.
SRN News. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. A woman who previously dated Maine Democratic Senate candidate Graham Plattner says he drunkenly forced himself on her after she told him to stop, according to a Politico report released Monday, leading prominent supporters to pull their endorsements and throwing a must-win race for the Democratic Party into turmoil. Plattner denied the allegation, but said he would be considering next steps for his campaign. A former campus police officer says he found an apparent sniper pad on a gravel rooftop near where Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Monday's courtroom testimony by the former officer comes as prosecutors seek to show they have enough evidence to put defendant Tyler Robinson on trial for murder. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 155 points. The S&P advanced 54. More details at srnnews.com.
You carrying more than $10,000 in credit card? Kern Radio. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN. Headlines from the KERN Newsroom.
I'm Chris Davis. The death of a K-9 deputy in Fresno County is being blamed partially on people setting off illegal fireworks Saturday night and scaring the dog while he was outside urinating. His partner says Santee took off running when someone set off a big blast. He jumped a fence and was hit by a car which drove off. Santee, who had been with the department for 4 years, died at the animal hospital. Part of the reason that you're seeing oil and gas prices come down in a much larger way this week is that OPEC announced that it would begin increasing output next month, which means more supply, less demand, and lower prices. The average price for a gallon of regular across the state today is $5.32 per gallon, says Gas Buddy. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
Attention, Medicare beneficiaries in Kern County. Are you looking for a doctor who truly listens, someone who cares about your health and respects your time with minimal wait times and prompt referral authorizations? Well, it may be time to learn about QualCare IPA. QualCare IPA partners with most Medicare Advantage health plans, giving you access to a large, community-based network of outstanding physicians and quality hospitals right here in Kern County. Local doctors, trusted hospitals, personalized care. Medicare Advantage plans offer benefits beyond original Medicare, but understanding your options for 2026 can feel overwhelming. That's where we can help. Call 661-554-4544 today to learn more about your Medicare Advantage choices. Our knowledgeable team is ready to help you understand your coverage options and make confident decisions about your care. Again, that's 661-554-4544. Get the information you need and the coverage you deserve. For accommodations of persons with special needs at meetings, call 661-554-4544, TTY 711.
Maxwell in the morning. Good till the last mic drop.
If you've got kids right now, what
see
happens
half
every
of,
summer? Well,
Dodger Stadium
there's
was
no summer
empty
jobs
yesterday.
available. And so you end up having to spend a lot of money putting your kids into
That's my
something that
theory.
is going to keep them active. You can't do what we did when I
So you
was
think
growing
that's
up.
why
It
it
just
was
doesn't
empty?
happen anymore.
Really?
And it's been the death of summer jobs and really changed society in a very negative way.
Weekdays 9 to noon. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
So the next thing was You've been doing that so what game? Yeah, free game. Status.
842-5376, 842-KERN. Still lots to do. Big goings on in where is this being played?
Seattle.
And then it's if we win, it's off to Inglewood, right?
I believe some games have already been played in Inglewood, but yeah, I mean, they're all over the place in America.
But their next, that's what I thought I heard this morning, that the next game is in LA.
Probably.
I assumed it was at SoFi. I could be wrong. Could be at the Coliseum, I guess. Could be at the Rose Bowl, for all I know.
No, I think it is the SoFi Stadium.
Yeah, that's what I would assume.
I think they're just doing the NFL stadiums.
Yeah, that's the best stadium in LA, other than the Rose Bowl. But
Coliseum is way past its prime on that one.
yes, good Google it, Mowgli. Good Google it, Mowgli. I mean, how old is the Coliseum? Literally, is damn near 100 years old. It was created for the 32 Olympics. 32 Olympics. It was a Coliseum.
103 years old.
Yeah. So, and it's still standing. I spent many a Sunday at the Coliseum. 842-5376, 842-KERN. So the big news politically is Paul Pelosi. You guys see this story? Now, what you have to remember is he just got a DUI about 4 years ago. And what I bet you did not know is that he was involved as a young man in an automobile accident where he flipped his sports car, ended up killing his brother. Yeah. This guy should not be driving. Some of us recognize our limitations on whether they should be driving. I, on the other hand, am about to return. I have to drive. I'm in a situation now where I need to get to Los Angeles at a moment's notice. I have no choice. And I began the process for me to start driving again literally this morning. So you will see me on the road one way or another very, very soon. But Paul Pelosi needs to have his license revoked. He was driving home, and as is the case, did you know this, that most accidents occur within about 2 or 3 miles of your home? And he was almost home, and he hit a parked Tesla. Because, he lives in a pretty Tony neighborhood. And he just kept on driving. And the only reason he stopped is because the mechanics of 21st century vehicles will automatically shut down. It's the same thing with the heat, the baby dying in the car thing. How many of us knew that the 21st century technology is that if you leave a car running after about an hour or so, it'll automatically shut down? I don't know about y'all, maybe it was just me, but I learned that with that trial. And now we've learned that if you damage your vehicle and you try to continue, it will shut down. That's exactly what happened to Paul Pelosi. And then when they got to his home and they asked him about it, he said, yeah, I hit something, but I don't know what it was. This guy is a menace. Either way you cook it. What do you mean you don't know what you hit? You hit a vehicle, sir. You don't know what you hit? That should be like summarily revoked. Like if you're so old and senile or stupid or entitled or blind that you can actually think about this. Think about you hitting a vehicle. Think about what a violent collision that is. And this guy just put it in reverse, kind of took a look. Apparently, he didn't even take a look because he's saying he doesn't even know that he hit a car. So he hit something and then kind of just drove off. Can Teslas drive themselves?
Yes.
So that's probably what he was doing. What?
Nah, because Tesla's have pretty good sensors that
And
they'll know.
They won't let you hit a car.
That's their whole thing, is that they'll stop before it hits anything.
So he had to manually, physically
yeah,
contact the
he
car.
would have been driving for sure. And the shutting off of the engine has been a thing for a while too. Because I had a truck that was from back in like early 2000s, and it had something of that that would do that.
That if you made impact with something, it would shut down if you try to continue to
Yeah,
drive
it's a fuel pump thing. Like it's to stop the fuel from spewing everywhere if you're in a very serious accident and potentially catching fire.
Right.
So
Only thing that stopped him. Not his conscience, not his respect for the law, not his moral obligation to see if he killed somebody. What if there had been somebody parked in that car? What if there had been somebody in the back seat? What if kids had been playing hide and go seek and they were back in the hatch of that Tesla? Paul wouldn't have known whether he killed him, injured him, or didn't harm him at all because he just kept on going. This is a hit and run, and they should have put the claps on him as soon as they got to the house. But it's Paul Pelosi, it's the entitled rich, and once again, there is a segment, we just have to face it. There is a segment of our society, be they celebrities, politicians, musicians, athletes, they can basically do on a certain level whatever they want, whatever the hell they want. If you look at some of these guys and some of the scrapes that they've been in, when they finally get the fatal one, and then you find out that there were 3 others that the ball club or the NFL or MLB or NBA kind of covered up. You know what I'm saying? Because it's all about availability. It's all about getting these kids on the field. But in this case, this is an old man who's been conked in the head with a damn hammer, probably doesn't have his, he's probably a little slow and should not be driving and should face some sort of jail time. I found it interesting. I didn't know this. He did 5 days for that DUI. That was interesting. But they couldn't get him work. They got me work release. They couldn't get him work release. They couldn't get him community service. He did 5 days. That's according to the thing I read this morning. I should have double sourced that because I find that incredibly hard to believe that Nancy Pelosi's husband did 5 days in jail. Do y'all remember that? I don't remember that. But that's what I read. But now they should revoke his license and he should do community service and time because this is beyond the pale. And had he said, I had a senior moment and I can't remember, but to just claim that you just hit something and you don't remember what you hit, that should be an automatic disqualification. You should absolutely have to submit your license at that point because now you are not only a danger to yourself, but a menace to other people on the road. I take Uber twice a day, 5 days a week. And I'll tell you, there are human beings that literally should not be driving. I had a woman that almost got us into an accident. I live on a street. I am sandwiched between 23rd and 24th Street. And the Uber will tell you to get to work to cross 23rd Street and go down 21st to Oak and Oak to California, California to Easton. But what I will tell my drivers is this intersection is extremely dangerous. It is much easier to make a U on my street, go down 24th Street, and just jump on the freeway, get off of California, boop, 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 boop. I had an older woman, and I'm sorry, I'm just calling it as it was. I'm not being sexist, I'm not being ageist, but it was an older woman who picked me up in front of my apartment. I said, it's probably easier, and I especially say this with older drivers, because getting across 23rd Street for Chris Burnick is a hard task. But for a 75, this woman had to be like in her 70s. to try to get across that street. I've told you, I've seen 7, 8, 9, 10 accidents from my bedroom window. So she picks me up in front of my apartment, and I say, you know, it's better to just make a U and jump on the freeway. Do you know this woman almost got T-boned making a U in front of my apartment? She just basically said, oh, okay, and did a U, and the person coming down my speed, hey! Thank God they were doing about 10, 15 miles an hour, because if that happens on 23rd or 24th Street, that's a T-bone, Jack. But this woman is obviously coming down the street, probably going about 10 miles an hour, and was able to stop before this woman absolutely just cut in front of her. In other words, like I say, there are people that literally have no business driving. No business driving. And I'm the first one, when I get out of the car, to call Uber. And sometimes I'll go as far, like you can give them 1 star, and you don't tip them, because I tip every one of my drivers unless it's a bad experience. I went as far as to send a message to Uber. And I send it, I don't try to act mad so that they'll react. I said something like, I had a young woman who was probably in her 70s, a lovely woman, very polite. However, she literally should not be driving, and you all should consider revoking her as an Uber or Lyft driver. It was that bad, because she would have been the one that got slammed. It would have hit on her side of the car, you know. But there are people that should not be driving. Paul Pelosi is one of them. For not only a physical reason, but for a simple respect of the law and a moral reason. The idea that he could hit something and just keep on driving and think that, what's the big deal? That is stunning to me, as it should be to everybody. And Nancy Pelosi should be the first one to hold a news conference today and just say, I'm worth $250 million. I'm pretty sure I can afford to get Paul a driver. Good God Almighty. Let's go ahead and take our final break of the day. No guests today, but tomorrow, Teresa Golder will join us via the Rogers Brandon Global Telephone Network. She is still, if you're a Teresa Golder follower on Instagram or Facebook, you well know she is having the time of her life with her young daughter in New York City. She and Barry have a place now in New York, so they're spending extended time in the Big Apple, particularly now with all that's going on, the 4th of July, 250th anniversary, the World Cup, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll talk with her at 3:30, and Howard Marcus will join us at 4. But in the meantime, step aside. Scott Jennings at the top of the hour. Keep it locked right here on News Talk 96.1, AM 1230. And we stream live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. First Look with Scott Cox, mornings 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Tuesday edition of the First Look program, we'll talk water with the best in the business. That'd be Lois Henry from sjvwater.org. And with any luck, we'll have some fireworks citation statistics from city or county. We'll see what we'll do. We got news and traffic and weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 right here at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
Look, folks, you already know that your garage door is a very important part of your home. From the overall look of the
Three, two. So Maine law allows you to remove a candidate as late as July 13th. I'm telling you, the Democratic Party has no choice at this point. Now that an ex-girlfriend is claiming rape, an ex-girlfriend who was a Democrat, an ex-girlfriend who said she hid some of the things that went on because she supports Graham Plattner, they have to move off the Nazi. The Democrats, have absolutely no choice. 3, 2. It's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Tuesday TRBS. We'll talk with former federal magistrate Judge Teresa Golder live from New York City. And Howard Marcus will join us. And the latest from Wimbledon, a big day in London. All that plus me at 3. It's TRBS. News Talk 96.1 AM 1230. And we're streaming live at kernradio.com. I'll see you at 3.
Tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's. Ready to take control of your Crohn's? Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's disease.
Control is everything to me.
Learn more at skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI.
Are you looking for a hospital that truly cares for your health and well-being? At Good Samaritan Hospital, they provide high-quality medical detox, psychiatric services, and medical and surgical care. They accept most insurances, including Medi-Cal, Medicare, and Kern Family. They offer Kern County's longest-standing inpatient detox program with dual diagnosis that combines medical care and withdrawal management all under one roof. Learn more at GoodSamaritanHospital.com or call 661-215-7500. Good Samaritan Hospital. They care for their community.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
So it was a screwy weekend. As I mentioned, I found about the news about my mother as I was leaving work Thursday, went down there, spent a couple of days, and she's home. She was resting comfortably until about the show started, and then kind of all hell broke loose. But here's the craziest thing about the entire weekend as far as I'm concerned. I get home late Saturday night, and I can't get to sleep. And the guys are playing golf at 6:30 the next morning. So I might have gotten like an hour's sleep. I think I did finally fall asleep around 3. I woke up at like 4. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to play golf tomorrow. I just don't want to think. I don't want to think about my family right now. I don't want to think about what's going on. I just want to play golf. And do you know I played as well as I have played in 10 years? I threw up with all this stuff on my mind and working on maybe 5-6 hours sleep over the last 3 or 4 days. I shot 83. I shot a 40 on the front. I missed 2 fairways all day long. I can't even explain that. I can't even explain that. And I honestly believe, because I've always believed that my biggest problem with my golf game is my mind. And I think I went out there Sunday just not giving a damn. You know what I mean? I just think I was just so happy just to be on a golf course. It was a beautiful morning. I hate getting up that early, but I didn't have to get up because I was already up. But at 6:30, it's incredibly pleasant. It really is. Till about 9:30 when we make the turn, it starts to get a little warm. But the first couple of holes at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning on a 100-degree day is extremely pleasant. And I just played my ass off. I can't even explain it. And I'm scared to death that I'm not going to be able to replicate it. That it may have been just the circumstances and my mindset, and that I just didn't give a damn if I shot 100 or 83, which is the best score I've posted in literally about 10 years. Literally about 10 years. And the best part, Chris, was the 18th hole. So, 17 and 18 are my nemesis. And so, and by the way, that yardage thing that Turnip Seed gave me,
yeah,
that thing is money, dude. I had Swaim explain to me how it works because I'm Ralph Bailey. I'm trying to tell you, I'm not that bright. And you clip it onto your hat, And it can be a little annoying because it talks to you. So when you're approaching the second tee, it says, you're approaching the second tee. I'm like, yeah,
No kidding.
yeah, exactly. But the cool thing is, from any spot you hit the button, 142 to the middle, 135 to the front. So I knew my exact yardage. So I come to 17 and it's playing 156. Now remember, I've hit 6-iron within about 16 inches of the hole. And I've also hit 6-iron in the lake. So I'm like, I'm not putting it in the lake. I know I can get there with a 6-iron. I've gotten there with a 6-iron, but if I put it in the lake, I'm about to screw up a really good round. I'm going to hit 5. And I'm thinking, you can't hit 5 from 156. And I'm like, just go down on the grip just a little bit, because I'd rather be long than be in the bunker or be in the water. And I knock it on the green. I 2-putt for 3. Okay. So now I'm like, I have no idea what I'm shooting, but I know I'm shooting a good round. So I go to 18, bust my drive. I've got everything in my bag, Chris, plus a 5-iron to get to the water. You see what I'm saying? In other words, to get to the water on 18 from where I am, I'd have to hit the greatest shot I've ever hit in my life, and then I'd have to hit another 3-iron. You see what I'm saying? In other words, there's no way in the world I can get to the water. And for whatever reason, I get up and I'm like, I can't hit this. This is hard. Even though there's no way in the world I can get to the water. So I decelerate and I hit it about 40, 50 yards. So now I'm thinking, Ralph, you are not going to blow this great round on the last hole. So I've got about 190 to cover the water, which I should be able to hit comfortably, and about 215 to the pin. So I'm thinking 5 wood. No, let's don't roll the dice. I can hit a 5 wood 190, but let's don't roll the dice. I take out a 3 wood, which I know I can cover, but I don't hit as consistently. I know I'm going to hit that 5 wood. The 3 wood, I'm going to hit it good 7 out of 10 times. And if this is the 3rd time, I'm about to destroy a really good round. And I stepped up and hit the nicest 3 wood that just barely got over the water. It came so close, Chris, the ball had mud on it. It's like the water, at the water's edge, there's like an area that's like kind of muddy, and it just barely got over the water. And on top of that, because that's all I wanted, because now at worst, I'm going to make bogey. I got up and down and made 5. I went par on my nemesis holes, shot a 43 on the back, 40 on the front, 83 on 6 hours of sleep over a 3 or 4 day period. And I'm scared to death to go play golf now. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because I couldn't miss. I missed like 5 or 6 shots all day long. 5 or 6 shots all day long. And I'm telling you, the biggest change in my game is my short game. I have made that little chipper that Turnip Seed gave me that I said I would never use because it's for old people, and it is. I've turned it into a weapon. Dude, I had 51 yards from the par 5. I birdied the par 5. I had 51 yards. That's just a chunk wedge, right? Nah. I took the chipper from 51 yards. This thing, if you don't know what I'm talking about, it looks like a putter, but it has a slight angle on it where the ball just can kind of hit little low line drives. And it's for guys like me that have the yips and don't flop the ball really well. Although I made a really good flop shot during the day as well. But I had 51 yards. I bust my drive. I busted my 357. And from 51 yards, I took a chipper and swung it, flew, and hit a line drive within 6 feet, made the 6-footer for birdie and birdied the second hole. The mind is a powerful thing. That's the only thing I can say, how in the world, out of nowhere, with all this stress and lack of sleep, how I shoot the round of my life.
Yeah, I couldn't answer on that one.
It's just, it's got to be psychological.
Has to be.
I don't think it had anything to do with my swing.
Well, getting out of your own head kind of a thing?
Exactly. That's what I mean. Just not thinking, not giving a damn. Just going out and being happy that I was out on a golf course, happy that I wasn't in an expensive hotel room like I'd been in the last couple of days where I spent a fortune Friday, Saturday, and just being with the fellas again. I shoot a 91 and I won $36. I shoot 83 and I won half that. I won like $15. Isn't that crazy? That's why I love playing with those guys. It's a fun group, really is. Want to thank you all for joining us. I apologize for getting caught on a hot mic yelling at my family. It is what it is. Teresa Golder and Howard Marcus tomorrow. For Chris Burnick, I'm Ralph Bailey. That's what's really going on. We'll wrap you tomorrow.
Kern Radio, AM 1230, KERN, 96.1 FM, K241CI Bakersfield, an American General Media station.
Town Hall, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Democrat Graham Plattner is facing calls to end his Senate bid in Maine following an allegation of sexual assault.
Jenny Rassicot told Politico that she'd been in an on and off relationship with Plattner, but says she cut off contact after that night and told him the incident was not consensual. Plattner posted a video on his social media campaign account saying,
Any accusation of non-consensual behavior is categorically false.